Good afternoon, everyone. Good Sunday. Happy Sunday. It's the 14th of September, 2025. It's about 2 o'clock p.m. here locally, Eastern time. And I'm just pretty much doing the same thing I did yesterday. I already ran my errands for the day. And I'm just kind of not really up to much. It's nice out. I thought about going to the beach, but maybe I'll go later on if I have time. Maybe. I don't know. I got to enjoy the water before it drops below 80 degrees. Because I'm a big pansy when it comes to water temperature. So yeah, I'm just going to go on here and just kind of see what's going on. I did notice this when I first got up this morning. I don't know why I didn't see this yesterday, but I guess I can only see what's put in front of me. And had I known about it, I would have gone out looking for it. And by it, I mean Office Depot firing staff for refusing Charlie Kirk vigil posters in Michigan. This is wild, man. I'm really surprised with all the stuff that I looked through yesterday. This didn't come up once. But on the other hand, there's just so much happening right now as far as people getting fired in the droves, and like 100% of it is completely justified. They keep trying to hide behind free expression and the First Amendment. However, you don't get those things when you work in corporate America. You don't. It's like you cannot wear a bikini to work because they have certain morals and values at the company. You can't badmouth the company while you're on the clock. If you work with phones, you can't answer the phone and say, this is Office Depot, go fuck yourself. What the fuck do you want? I mean, you can't say that shit. And then when they say you're fired because you were berating and cussing out an employee, you really, by their logic, they would hide behind free expression. Well, it's my First Amendment right. I can say whatever I want. It's free expression, motherfucker. I can do whatever I want. They're brain dead. They're absolutely brain dead. So that's what a lot of these leftists are trying to hide behind when they're getting fired. The First Amendment, saying that they have a First Amendment right. And there was a school administrator who said that they're investigating this teacher who said pretty abhorrent stuff about Charlie Kirk's assassination. And they said they're going to look into it because this may be a First Amendment rights issue. Like, no, it's not. Not in the workplace. Because like I said, free expression can extend to all kinds of stuff. Like, I mean, I use the bikini example because, yeah, there are laws and decency laws with regard to walking around completely naked. Although there are some leftists who absolutely would do that if they were given the opportunity to. So, yeah, they're going to investigate them. I really hope that they fire them because they shouldn't be educators, needless to say. And there's tons of them, man. It's of no surprise to any of us who's been paying attention over the last few years, even going back to the COVID era, even going back before the COVID era with the social justice warriors and especially in universities with these like insane professors. So yeah, it's of no surprise to some of us to see the huge number of teachers that were praising Charlie Kirk's death and tacking on some really terrible language following that, such as like, he's just one, where's the rest, and things like that. You know, absolutely despicable, disgraceful. So anyway, speaking of which, so this is from Libs of TikTok. Holy crap, a customer put in an order and paid for a poster for a vigil for Charlie. Office Depot refused to print it because they said it's propaganda. Really? Let's take a look at this. I got the volume up.
So,
yeah, we're good.
We came in for an order earlier to print a poster for a vigil tonight.
Yeah, so
for somebody that passed. It's not
it's propaganda. I'm sorry, we don't put that here.
Alrighty. So, what's your name?
Karl, I'm print supervisor.
I'm one of the managers.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, we do
so
not
they
print,
say they don't print
we don't
political
print
propaganda.
No.
So this is somebody that passed away a couple years
That's
ago.
political propaganda, unfortunately. I'm
So
sorry.
this is for a prayer tonight, for a prayer vigil.
It's still propaganda, unfortunately.
What makes it propaganda?
Because he's a political figure, and I don't have to. Yeah.
Our general manager is going to be in on Monday. If you
No,
want to
it's
speak
totally
further
okay.
on the
No,
subject,
if you would like to,
you are welcome to return.
I'm sure they would have no problem printing George Floyd posters, Kamala Harris posters. Just name a Democrat in at any level, local, federal, whatever. They would print any one of them. Political propaganda. A man dies, man is assassinated, and they're calling it propaganda. So anyway, Office Depot, they responded to that, and they issued an apology letter So I'll let you be the judge. I think it's sincere. It sounds sincere to me. I think Office Depot, just by their words, it sounds like those who are running Office Depot are especially pissed off about this happening. Anyway, it reads as follows. We are deeply concerned by the incident that occurred at store 3382 in Portage, Michigan. The behavior displayed by our associate is completely unacceptable and insensitive. It violates our company policies and does not reflect the values we uphold at Office Depot. Let's see. We sincerely apologize to the customer affected and to our community for this regrettable situation. Upon learning of the incident, we immediately reached out to the customer to address their concerns and seek to fulfill their order to their satisfaction. We also launched an immediate internal review, and as a result, the associate involved is no longer with the organization. We are committed to reinforcing training with all team members to ensure our standards of respect, integrity, and customer service are upheld at every location. Our customers and communities deserve nothing less. So they immediately fired. I hope they fired all three of them, including the woman who was seen in the background, who was appeared, in my opinion, to be smirking. So not so sure if that would have warranted termination. I don't know, man. If she didn't get fired, I guess I can understand why, because she didn't actually really push back in any way. She was just there. So she probably wasn't let go. But she certainly kind of had a look on her face like she was, you know, in agreement with the management's opinion that it was political propaganda. I'm pouring some coffee here. All right. So yeah, that's still in the headlines. Charlie Kirk fatally shot. Charlie Kirk, or the leftist gunman. From what I heard, that individual, he's going to be, he's going to have his first day in court on Tuesday. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that's going to be the day, his first hearing. Now, I don't know if that's still going to be here or not. Not that. The word leftist was trending early this morning. Of course, I'm not seeing it now, but it was trending in the United States. And I was looking through it. I think I grabbed a couple of bookmarks of what stood out to me. But yeah, I was just curious to see. We are Charlie Kirk. That's a good hashtag. I'm gonna have to remember that. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Oh, there it is. Right there. Leftist. Look at this. 181,000 posts. Assuming in the last 24 hours. These are the top ones. Legal. Oh, yeah. Okay. Legal Iranian immigrant wearing a Trump shirt is confronted by an old leftist at the gym. I did see this morning when I first woke up. Yeah, some like old guy confronted him and was all pissed off about him, like calling him like a right winger or something like that, and then saying that you know, like people on the right, they hate immigrants and whatnot. And this dude happens to be an immigrant, and then the old man was like, well, the armed services and military or whatever, and he's like, I'm a combat veteran too. What else do you got? Anyway, here, I'll play it.
I'm at the gym minding my own business. This older white guy comes up to me, pointing to my shirt, and he said, let me talk to you real quick. So I walk over there. I'm like, what's up, man? He said, you shouldn't be wearing that shirt right now. You're going to offend a lot of people. I was like, who? Who am I going to offend? He said, immigrants. I started laughing. I'm like, I'm an immigrant. I support the president. He's like, no, you're not. I was like, yeah, born and raised in Iran, man. He gets all confused and he's like, well, how about the soldiers, military's being deployed to target protesters? I was like, I like law and order too. I like stores that are not looted. I like taxi cabs that are not burned. I don't know about you. I support him on that. And he's like, well, a lot of people in the military don't. They're speaking out. They're walking away. And I was like, well, guess what, man? I'm a veteran too. And the first thing they teach you in the military that you obey the chain of command. And guess who's at the top of that chain? It's the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States.
Absolutely. So, Donald J. Trump.
I told him this. If you are talking about immigrants, you're wrong. You're talking about illegal immigrants. I spent 3 years in a refugee camp in Turkey, waited my turn with no source of education, no source of income, because we knew what was on the other side. I mean, when we got here, we didn't raise the Iranian flag. We raised the American flag and the Texas flag, and we still do today. So
Hell yeah.
you're not talking about immigrants. You're talking about illegal immigrants, those people who invaded this country. And anybody in the military that have a problem with this, or like this guy, or those foreigners that are raising the foreign flag, you all are more than welcome to get the hell out and go find another place.
Yeah, and you know what? It makes me think that, you know, back when in the Biden administration, when all of those leftist activists were down in Latin America, Mexico, Central America, and they were organizing those caravans by the thousands to send them up, I bet they were going around trying to find as many politically active local citizens of any given country that they were at, and they were trying to get them up here too, because a lot of illegal immigrants are doing exactly what he did. They're raising their country's flag, and they're pro-Palestine and all this stuff. So I'm sure that they probably went after, especially a lot of younger immigrants, and they probably told them that if you become politically active, if you support the Democratic Party when you get to the United States, then you'll get free this and free benefits and free SNAP benefits and free welfare, healthcare. I'm not saying they did that. I'm just saying that wouldn't surprise me in the least if they did, because there were a lot of leftist activists who did go into Latin America to organize those caravans. They told them exactly what to say when they got to the border, how they're trying to seek like asylum or whatever. And yeah, that's how they were able to be let in by the millions, because they were told what to say. But yeah, man, hell of a video. That was pretty good. Let's see. The leftist who celebrated Charlie Kirk's death outside a Washington, D.C. vigil has been identified as District of Columbia Department of Transportation employee David Burkowski. Oh, and it would sure be a shame if you gave his job a ring. Hey, man, it's the Department of Transportation. That's taxpayer money right there. That's who's funding it. So I don't know rules about YouTube. Plus, in light of everything that's happened, I'm not crazy about, I guess maybe my inner morals tell me that I probably shouldn't be reading what you see on the screen here. But yeah, but they've got his workplace on here. Department of Transportation, I have no problem saying that. I just don't want to be reading phone numbers off. But yeah, but it's right there. If you want to give him a call. I looked at a couple of comments. At least I think I did. It might have been another post, but somebody said they had already called. And all right, hold on. Before you freak out on people, how about try a little bit of decent Discord and share your algorithms on social media with each other to compare? It will be a lot easier to be understanding of people with different beliefs if we take a look at what's being fed into them. Yeah, somewhat fair. But dude, at the end of the day, they know right from wrong. And I will reply just simply with that. And that is probably the simplest way I could put it. Yeah, he's right. A lot of people are being fed shit on social media, especially places like Facebook, even on X. I'm sure a lot of people are in an echo chamber on X. And pretty much all social media. TikTok's probably one of the worst because it's controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. Well, no, it's not. It's owned by ByteDance. Yeah, which is affiliated with China, which is probably in China. I'm almost certain it is, which means that the Chinese Communist Party can go in there anytime they damn well please and tell them whatever the hell they want them to do. So, yeah, but I get where he's coming from that, yes, and I agree. A lot of these people who've been screaming out against Charlie Kirk, they have been radicalized, and they don't realize to the extent that they've been radicalized because everything that they've been consuming on social media and mainstream media has been lining up with everything that their friends and their teachers and everybody's been telling them. So, yeah, they're just simply brainwashed. They just don't know what's really going on. They're just stuck in this crazy radical matrix that's been created around them. But even still, like I said, they know right from wrong. We all learned right from wrong. We know the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. And yeah, if you're celebrating the assassination of somebody, put yourself in their shoes. What if you were assassinated? Do you want the entire world to say, like, they're glad you're dead, you're a scumbag, you got what you deserved? No, nobody wants that. So yeah, anyway, somebody working for the DOT that is spitting this ideology, nope, get rid of them. Yep, get rid of all of them. Right now we're at the fight fire with fire stage. We're at the eye for an eye stage, and maybe we're not even truly at that stage yet. I mean, this is all still really fresh. It's really raw right now. And this is something the left has been engaged with for years and years. Somebody on the right who says something that the left doesn't agree with, and if said post or said video gets a lot of traction, a lot of views, then they'll get targeted by the left and they'll get doxxed, and then they'll not leak, but they'll post their employer's information. They'll get them fired. They'll get their financial life shut down, get them canceled off of the internet, try to get them kicked out of, if they're renting somewhere, they'll try to get them kicked out of that, and so on. So this is something the left is very familiar with because they've been engaging in these tactics against the right for a very long time. Leftist tries to kill an old man in North Carolina over his Trump sign. What? This is on Fox Carolina.
Watching the scene live, says he went outside and fired his rifle twice in the air.
Let him know that somebody's watching him, and didn't appreciate it.
Then, as the man drives off, him
Got a
raise
gun right
his
there.
gun out of the sunroof of his car. That's when the owner says that man shot at him.
Dude, they're going to be able to find... Look, they've got distinct stickers right here. Of course, you can't read them, but it's just the arrangement of them. Plus, there's two right here. I mean, it's going to be an easily identifiable vehicle. I'm sure they've already got whoever this is. At least I would assume so. Swain County, not familiar with that. North Carolina. Maybe in the rural areas of North Carolina. But, yeah, dude, you're going to prison without any doubt. And that's what they get for being deranged, which he very clearly is. I'm just glad that he didn't get shot, man. So anyway, the murder of Charlie Kirk has made crystal clear the differences between the left and the right. When heroes of the left die, conservatives offer our condolences. When heroes on the right die, leftists rejoice. Yep, that's been the case for a while. While those on the left burn down cities, conservatives pray. They do. That is very well said. Conservatives pray, and leftists, they burn shit down. Anyway, let me give this a play.
If you don't yet know the difference between those on the left and those on the right, let me spell it out to you. When bad things happen to heroes on the left, what do people on the right do? We pray for them. When bad things happen to heroes on the right, what do those on the left do? They celebrate in the streets and wish us death. When bad things happen to those on the left, what do? They burn down whole cities and communities. But when bad things happen to those on the right, things that hurt us, that gut us even, what do? We encourage people to pray, to go to church, to love their neighbor.
100%.
Because that's who we are, and that's who they are. And we will never be the same.
Yep, it's all just decent morals and values. Again, the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Which, oh, by the way, yeah, I showed this yesterday with Corey Harrison, Pawn Stars. I did like 3.5 hours worth of a video yesterday. Because it was just one thing after another. I was just going through my feed, just like what I'm doing now. Like right now, I'm just looking at the word leftist and seeing how that's, or the results that's returning right now. But I was just going through just my regular feed, and it was just one thing after another, like for hours, man. Which, by the way, I bought a new computer finally. I've had this computer since 2020, and it's an old computer. It's got Windows 10. Of course, it has Windows 10. That's pretty obvious. I got Windows 10. So I need to get a new one anyway. But I found one online, refurbished, and I think it's a good computer. It's a miniature-sized one. The one that I have now is like an old-school brick PC. And yeah, I think I got it for a good deal for a few $100. And hopefully that's going to do a lot more good for when I play videos, because every once in a while when I'll play a video, it starts glitching out. And it shouldn't be my computer because it's solid state drive. I've got like 24 gigs of RAM in it, even though it's DDR3. It's not DDR4 or 5. And the process, it's an i5 Intel. It's like 3.4 megahertz, whatever. So it's supposed to be performing pretty well. But anyway, yeah, so I got that. It'll be here on Friday. I'm extremely excited for that because, you know, maybe I can finally start to play videos and not have them freaking glitching out on me. Although it's not always my computer's fault. Sometimes sometimes the videos are grainy. They're not really the best quality often. I really wish X would really upgrade whatever it is they need to upgrade to allow just more seamless 1080p, 1440p, what's the other one? 2160p or something like that, 4K. I don't know. Maybe we'll get there. Maybe someday. I know Elon Musk, he's got plenty of funds to upgrade X's servers or whatever it is that they need to do. So anyway, people are going after Critical, who is coincidentally, his name is Charlie as well, just because he said political violence is bad and called the shooter a leftist. Wild how you get hate online simply for being reasonable and stating plain facts. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching Charlie for a long time. He actually lives where I live. Well, he lives in Tampa. I live in St. Pete, but it's the same area. And yeah, I mean, last I checked, he was up to like, what, 14, 15 million followers on YouTube. He's got a massive following. And he's usually a pretty reasonable guy. He's not, I wouldn't put him nearly as political as someone like Asmongold. Asmongold, he has no problem digging into political affairs. Charlie tries to stay away from it, I think, for the most part. But when something of this magnitude happens, somebody like Charlie Kirk, someone on his level, ends up getting assassinated, I mean, your everyday YouTuber just can't, it's practically impossible to stay away from it, especially because he streams a lot. So he's streaming live a lot. So I'm sure his chat was just absolutely flooded with Charlie Kirk related words, condolences, content, stuff like that. But here, let's give this a play and see what he says. I haven't seen this yet, so.
I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk, everything that happened here is fucking horrible. I think it is horrific, awful. I think it is terrible. And I'm aware that some people have been celebrating this. I find that to be fucking disgusting.
All right. That's actually got me. I'm going to try to see if he's got something on this. He's got to have something on this. Let's take a look. Damn, 17, even more than I thought. All right, videos. They caught the suspected shooter. All right, 3 days ago. Trump was an FBI informant on Epstein. Yep. That was the talk of the town the other day, wasn't it? Okay, so yeah, I remember that Karen who took the baseball away from that kid at the Phillies game. Didn't live up to the crazy hype. Okay. Most ridiculous claim ever. All right. Big sad story. Scams are huge. All right. So I was just checking to see if he might have done a video like immediately after the shooting had happened. It looks like this might be the first one. Let me see what he says about it. I'm assuming that clip that I just showed probably is within this.
I've been up all night again for the second time this week already. Insomnia is absolutely bending me over. Now that I've turned 31, all of a sudden I've unlocked the superpower of insomnia. And while I've been up...
What's hilarious is that, okay, I'm actually 41. I'm not 31 like Charlie is. But what's funny is that just in the last year and a half or so, I cannot sleep more than 6 hours. Even this morning, I went to bed like a little bit after midnight last night, and I would love nothing more than to have woken up at like 11 o'clock this morning with a ton of sleep. It's been like 2 years, I think, since I've hit more than maybe 7 hours of sleep. And it's not what I'm eating. I'm not eating a bunch of sweets and junk food before I go to bed. I never drink alcohol. I don't do drugs or anything like that, even though I think that drugs would probably be a case to be made to sleep more than anything. But yeah, I just don't get it. I think it's just, I just hit a certain age where maybe for some people like Charlie, once you hit 30, that's when you have more trouble sleeping. Or in my case, when I hit 40, that's when I have a lot of trouble sleeping. I mean, like, I don't wake up in the middle of the night. I sleep all the way through. I just can't crack 6 hours. And it's frustrating because I still wake up tired. I don't wake up feeling like I had 12, well, I guess 12 hours of sleep would still make you feel tired, but yeah, I don't feel as well rested, and it's fucking annoying, man.
I've just been digesting things, learning things about like aliens and geodes because of like the life on Mars rock.
Yeah, the alien
thing. While I was perusing that,
I think it's a distraction.
I saw the breaking news that they caught the man responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. This is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, and I'm pretty sure they actually got the shooter this time. In the beginning, there was a lot
and what's hilarious is that they've got him just wrapped up in body armor from head to toe, which is, it's just, it's just ironic, in my opinion, that they've got him just so concealed from somebody trying to take him out, because that's what the left does. If somebody on the right were to take out a leftist on the level of Charlie, not that I think they have one, his a counterpart on their level or on their side, yeah, like if somebody on the right were to do that to somebody on the left, then yeah, that would be way more than justified. Like, you shouldn't even let them see the light of day, because people are going to instantly try to be taking shots at him. Anyway.
Hoopla because they brought in like 2 octogenarians claiming that it could be the shooter. It wasn't. This time, though, they absolutely got the right guy. He is definitely the shooter. He was turned in by his father. I'm pretty confident I don't need to explain what happened. I imagine all of you are familiar with it by now, but just in case, Charlie Kirk was on a college campus in Utah where he was inviting the audience to debate him on a variety of topics. And while doing that, he was shot in the neck and he died. It is fucking terrible. The videos are sickening. They are very
100%.
gruesome. I don't recommend watching them. The gunman, now ID'd as Tyler Robinson, was...
I'm telling you, if you see it, you're not going to unsee it. Obviously, it's... Yeah, I wouldn't go looking for it, even though my even though my representative, Anna Paulina Luna, she's making it her big mission right now to try to get all those videos taken off of social media, which I could not disagree more with that. I think anybody who wants to see that video of Charlie being shot should absolutely see it. I'm just saying it's gruesome, it's horrifying. Just the number of people there, just knowing that Charlie's family was there when that happened. Just it's just something, you know, like for the rest of my life, just those like 5 seconds that I saw it up close, because it was just a real short video clip. I'm never going to forget that. Just absolutely never going to. And I mean, is it traumatizing? I mean, not to me. It's not traumatizing to me. You know, stuff like that doesn't really affect me in that kind of way. Although it probably will fuck with a lot of people if they go out looking for it and they see it, and then because a lot of people are going to see it and then they're going to wish they hadn't. And if even if you're even close to that realm, you know, I would never say anything like, "Oh, just go see it, man up." You know, don't be a wuss. Go, no, hell no, man, no, not at all. Like if something in you is telling you that you don't want to see what happened, don't. Like, I'm pleading with you not to do it, because it's very, very difficult to watch, and once you see it, it's just over and over in your mind. So,
like 200 yards away on top of a building, and he escaped for a little while. He jumped off the building. We have footage of all of this. I had planned on showing you some of the footage of Tyler Robinson.
You know what? Actually, the Asmongold, I just noticed that he's actually got... I don't think I'm going to play that because it's 20 minutes. Frankly, I don't even really want to play this whole one. I might actually only play some of it. Not sure what YouTube would think. I don't want Charlie to come after me or anything like that. Not that I think he would, but...
You know, running away with the rifle and everything. But, I mean, I guess it's worth mentioning why I'm not. I actually made this video like 3 or so hours ago, and when I finished rendering it, I went to my channel to find out I got a copyright strike from a news agency for using some of their clips when going over the topic of that doctor that would walk around his office butt-ass naked for a long time, had even ejaculated on a patient/employee, even called himself the Naked Doctor. I was covering that.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. Okay.
And I used some of that news footage and got struck for it.
That happens to be one of those videos of Charlie that I've seen. I don't watch him religiously. Like every once in a while, his content will just flash across my feed, and I just happened to see that video he's talking about. Yeah, just some doctor who was getting accused for sexual harassment, and he would actually walk around the office naked. It was insanely fucked up.
Today. So I don't know if I'm allowed to use news footage here, so I'm going to refrain from showing any clips when talking about everything in regards to the Charlie Kirk assassination.
I never get hit with copyright when I show news.
Because I want to make sure this video doesn't get taken down. I think this is something very important and something that I really want to talk about. Anyway, Tyler Robinson's father alerted authorities that he believed his son was the shooter they were looking for, and obviously the investigators followed up. They investigated and found sufficient evidence to conclude that this could very likely be the person responsible for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They also found 4 bullet casings that were engraved with messages on them. So the one fired casing read, "Notices bulges, OWO, what's this?" Which is a furry meme. It's like one of those old, like, Tumblr furry memes, I think, about, like, nuzzles you rar, that kind of shit. He had other...
Well, dude's like 22 years old. Right? Tumblr, that's been gone for what? Like a decade now at this point?
Messages on the other casings, the ones that were unfired. So one of them said, "Hey fascist, catch," and then had up arrow, right arrow, and then down arrow 3 times, which people were quick to pick up on as a Helldivers reference. Another one said, "Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao," which is apparently a
Antifa.
reference to an Italian anti-fascist song. And then finally another one said, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." I think these engravings paint a pretty clear picture of a fucking cringe loser. This
Big time.
is a lunatic. This is a maniac. But according to those close to him, he wasn't, like, politically active or anything until recently, which I think sounds right. Politics has become turbocharged over just the last handful of years, to the point where people can go from, like, not really being involved or only dipping their toes in, to being just full-blown fucking radicalized and just, you know, off their rocker, off their fucking gourd in politics. Like, it is, everything is just accelerating at such a scary, alarming rate. Something else worth mentioning here, the authorities were claiming that Tyler was communicating via Discord about this. However, Discord is coming out and saying that it found no evidence that the suspect planned the shooting on its platform or promoted violence. It was apparent...
I might push back against that, because the law enforcement, when they were taking screenshots from his house, or from that Tyler dude's house, his roommate, the transgender roommate, was showing the Discord, and law enforcement asked if they could take pictures of it, and he said, "That's okay, you can," and they did. And apparently there was a message in there saying that I'm going to need a rifle to be stashed at X location, and it needs to be wrapped up in something, which turned out to be a towel. And so that's what I was reading that. I can't like pinpoint exactly where it was, but that's definitely one of the millions of things that's been circulating around. But that was something that was being shared with like legit accounts. So, and I believe during the statement, when the governor was talking for about 15 minutes or so, when they were describing the incident with them catching him and the father turning him in and everything, in that statement, I'm pretty sure he made a reference to that law enforcement were taking screenshots, and that was some of the comments that were mentioned in the screenshots. So no evidence that he planned the incident. Now, he probably didn't plan it to a T on Discord, but he was absolutely describing it in Discord.
Apparently reported by Utah Governor Spencer Cox that the shooters...
Oh yeah, here we go. See, this is my problem. I usually pause too early, because it does go on to say, with one contact listed under the name Tyler, the messages reportedly mentioned stating the need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush. So exactly what I was alluding to.
Conversations with someone listed as Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, watching the area where the rifle was left, and having left it wrapped up in a towel. The Discord saying they can't find those messages that were referenced in that reporting. So that one is still a little shaky as of me making this video, but I thought it was worth mentioning here. Now, already outside of the obvious major conversation that's been being had here about political violence, there is now, like, another separate conversation that's starting to break through because of the engravings on the ammo casing, because Helldivers was referenced. So now a lot of people are pointing the finger at video games, which is something that has historically happened in the past, with people immediately trying to scapegoat video games as, like, the catalyst for a tragedy. This is a path that's been walked hundreds of times before, and I'm sure it'll be walked hundreds of times again. Do I think...
no, like, in my opinion, I don't play video games. I have played video games before, because I am an American. I did grow up in the 90s and in the 2000s, so yeah, I've played them. The only console I have is an Xbox 360 to this day, which I don't have really anything for it. I haven't turned it on in years. But there has always been a very strong argument that video games would do the opposite. They're not going to radicalize somebody into committing a mass murder, there's a very strong argument, which I totally agree with, that it would actually more so than anything, it would prevent that from happening, because it allows this potentially radicalized person to get it out of their system, so to speak, by playing a video game, which would satisfy them adequately and prevent them from acting out on certain urges that they otherwise may have acted out on if not for like first-person shooter games or something like that. So I know there's an argument for that.
Divers had any role to play in this monster carrying out this assassination on Charlie Kirk? No, I don't. I don't think video games are ever really to blame. Anyway, as of now, there's been a lot of misinformation flooding around with like different Tyler Robinsons, and also like people making claims about whether he's a Democrat or a Republican, which is obviously a big subject here considering the motive being political. Now, with all the available information about what they found, as well as like where he's potentially been, to me it seems like he's more left-leaning than right, but nothing is 100% confirmed, and there's so much information it's hard to know for sure. A lot of people are saying since he grew up in a Republican household and there's so many photos of him at a young age around guns, he must be a Republican. But that's
but it doesn't really make a lot of sense when he writes like "take that fascist" and references to Antifa on bullet casings. Why would anybody on the right want to take out Charlie Kirk? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. No sense. There's even extreme right-wingers, I wouldn't even think would have that big of a beef against him. I'm sure there's probably more instances. I'm sure there's some conservatives that don't align with him, because nobody aligns with anybody on everything. But to an extent where you want him dead, that makes no sense at all. And yeah, I'm hearing the same thing, that his family they're conservatives, they're Republicans, they live in what appears to be a pretty rural area, even if it's in a town. However, their son, they claim that he was radicalized recently. He's 22 years old, so he probably graduated when he was 18, so 4 years ago. And there is a video out there of him, and I believe I shared that on my video day before yesterday, where he was reading an acceptance letter of a scholarship he was getting. I'm talking about this Tyler Robinson dude. He's reading a letter to his parents about how he received a scholarship that was worth the equivalent of like $32,000. And his parents were all celebratory. They were really excited for him because he got this big scholarship to go to university. And most likely, and I don't know what he was doing, like what he was going to school for. Oh, wait, wasn't he going for like electrical engineering? I don't know. I think I heard somewhere that he was going for like something to do with electrical. But there's a pretty strong case to be made that he was probably perfectly normal, probably not even political, probably didn't really pay attention or care, because a lot of younger people really don't give a shit. You know, they want to live their lives. They want to enjoy, their newfound adulthood. And when he went to the university, he probably got radicalized there, because that's where so many of them do get radicalized.
Always the case. Kids don't always grow up to be just carbon copies, clones of their parents and their beliefs. Like,
no,
yes,
there's a lot of there's a lot to be said that kids would even push, like they would even go the opposite direction of their parents. Like referencing like Breakfast Club. Do you think we're gonna end up like our parents? Oh God, I hope not. No, I don't want to be anything like my parents. I mean, same with when I was growing up. I'm sure when you were growing up, that's like we all had that mentality that we don't want to be like our parents. We don't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over. What appears to be a boring job. Our parents, for most of us, were at least some point or another complaining about their job. Like they were just bogged down with responsibility that they just kind of seem miserable sometimes. And growing up, none of us we didn't want that for ourselves. So yeah, we'd push back. We were, kind of like a punk rock, so to speak, like just kind of push back against authority, whether that's your parents or whether that's like the government or whatever it might be.
More inclined to follow those beliefs, but it's not always how it works out. And according to people closest to him, he got much more political over the last couple of years, so anything could have changed. There's no telling for sure. But this definitely does seem to be a politically motivated assassination, which, if you ask me,
Absolutely.
is a horrible thing. And my heart breaks for the family that is now without a father. I think it is bad. I know, classic Charles with a grass is green take, but I also want to mention something that a lot of people kept saying, I'm sure you've seen it in the comment section or on streams or elsewhere, about how I'm dodging this topic and refusing to speak on it. And people even go as far as to say that I am endorsing political violence by not making a video on it.
No, see, that's bullshit. He's not in the political sphere, and I know Charlie actively tries to avoid anything politics. He's never said which side he's on. He's never endorsed anybody in politics. Whenever he brings up politics, for the most part, he talks about how little of a shit that he gives about it, because he's focused on other things. He's in like the gaming sphere and like certain pop culture events and a lot of internet related content, like with lol cows and just influencers and things of that nature. He's never really gotten political unless something to this extent, something this extreme were to break off. Like I'm sure he made a video about Trump's assassination. I'm sure he probably did, because just some of these political events are just unavoidable.
Which I find to just be unhinged. I find that to be so fucking twisted. Especially considering it's not like I've been shy on this subject. Since it happened, I have covered it extensively during streams. I've been mainly gaming because I've been in such a fucking huge gaming arc in my life right now, but I have still talked about it a lot. And I said from day one, I planned on making a video once the shooter was caught, because I was very confident the shooter would be apprehended pretty quickly.
Okay, yeah, all right. I don't want to play it all the way through, but it's on Penguin Z0 if you want to check it out. It's got a couple minutes left. It's approaching 3 million views in just the last couple days, which his videos tend to do. But yeah, so yep, that's Charlie's take. Totally don't hold anything against him at all for just trying to avoid it, because like he said, he's got other things going on, and that's not really what he focuses on. He doesn't want to get political because it's so divisive. A lot of these mainstream content creators, especially the ones that have a decent head on their shoulders, they want to actively avoid politics as much as possible, because they don't want to say one single thing and it would cause half of their audience to just vaporize instantly. Because at the end of the day, he's making a living and he's got a lot of people depending on him. I'm sure he's got a whole team of people that are working with him on all kinds of different projects that he does. So, but yeah, I mean, I got respect for Charlie for at least bringing it up. And like I said, during his live streams, I've never watched any of his live streams, not live at least. But yeah, I'm sure that chat was probably just constantly talking about Charlie Kirk, as that was the topic of conversation held to this day. So, all right, anyway, I'll just move on. What did that say? Leftists aren't getting fired for celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. They're just opting to get fired. Yeah, they're opting to get fired rather than take the vaccine. Well, all right. Well, yeah, there's that. Let's see. So this is my regular feed. I guess I could go back to the leftist one, at least maybe see what else there might be. Based on the screenshots people keep sending me, it seems that Blue Sky is a place where leftists just sit around talking about who they want to kill next. And that's a screenshot of New W Oak, who says, honestly, it should have been Matt Walsh, and I can't wait for him to be shot. Yep, that's happening on Blue Sky. And as I've said quite a few times, Blue Sky, they issued a statement to every single user on Blue Sky to be careful what they're saying on the platform. And I don't believe that they elaborated on exactly why they're telling them to be careful. Not because it's an insensitive topic and you all are being a bunch of fucking scumbags for saying what you're saying. Nah, Blue Sky didn't warn them because of that. They warned them because there's employers that are looking at their employees' social media content, or there's people who are calling them out to their employers and they're getting fired. I think that's why Blue Sky sent out that statement saying just be careful, because a lot of people on our platform are getting fired. Don't come back and blame us because you're posting all this on our platform. It's getting you fired. All right, NASA is sadly being hijacked by leftist lunatics on Blue Sky. Meet Jimmy Acevedo. He works at NASA at Goddard Space Flight Center. He runs a pseudo-anonymous account on Blue Sky below. He thinks Kirk got what he asked for. Inexcusable. Oh, he's a him. Of course he is. It's not just the educational area. It's not just the healthcare industry. It's also in our sciences. It really is. All kinds of different sciences. I mean, they're pretty much infiltrating all of it. Supposedly, this idiot got fired. I showed this yesterday. It doesn't really say that, though. It says, early yesterday morning, Thursday, September 11th, Riverside became aware of a social media post made by an individual contracted through North American Partners in Anesthesia, our anesthesiology group, that included highly inappropriate comments supporting violence against a public figure. Doesn't say she got fired. I mean, it doesn't say it. I'll play the video, but she's a contracted employee. So it's not Riverside Walter Reed Hospital that can fire her. They can obviously prevent her from working there. It would be North American Partners in Anesthesia who should be contacted, which I'm sure they're probably aware of at this point too. If it's just her spewing her bullshit, I'm not going to bother with it, but we'll see.
I'm just really glad Charlie Kirk just got himself fucking
Yeah, it's just the same. All right. Yeah, it's the same. I already played it. That's why I don't want to play it again, because it's already happened. And we saw that one. All right, 3 hours ago, I applaud those with the platform who are speaking out against leftist violence and rhetoric. Conservatives are welcoming people from all walks of life into this movement. What xenophobic, racist, bigot Nazis do that? Absolutely, and they've always done that. We've been doing that forever. Republicans have always been very welcoming. Because, you know, the vast majority, they're Christians. Like, that's what's preached to Christians. You know, no matter what background they might have, no matter what evil things that they've done in their past, you know, we're supposed to forgive and, you know, accept. Yeah, there you go. The average leftist, all full. And then the right, there's like 5 or 6. See, both sides commit violence. You know, that's what a lot of modern feminists, they like to throw out those talking points too. They're like, well, not all. Or, oh, so you're saying that never happens? Well, what about this one thing, like January 6th? Like, that's the one thing that they go to, which is why it was so important that they, you know, made it, you know, that they caused it to begin with Ray Epps and the others. Not sure if they were FBI. I don't know. Definitely Capitol Police. There was without a doubt that they were involved because they opened up the doors and ushered everybody in, like waving them in. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. The same with, it might have also been Capitol Police when they started like firing those, I don't know if they were beanbags or if it was just the tear gas canisters, but they were actually pointing them at people in an attempt to agitate them to the point where they just had enough, basically. So, but yeah, they had to make that happen because that's the only thing that they could point to. So no matter what, whatever the left does, they could say, well, at least we didn't engage in insurrection against the Capitol, which is, it's retarded on its face. It's like, okay, so a couple hundred people, we're going to storm or let's say a few thousand people, we're going to storm the Capitol building, and then what? They were just going to control the government? It makes no fucking sense. It's stupid. It's just low IQ propaganda. But yeah, so they had to make sure that happened because that's the only thing that they point to when they say the right engages in violence. They've literally got nothing else. And like with this example, okay, yeah, so there might be a few here, but we definitely understand that meme because that is absolutely the case. You could point to any major city over the last 5 years and you could probably tally up maybe that number, whatever this tally equates to. That's how many instances of political violence that's occurred from the left in each one of those cities. All right, so that was a couple days ago. All right, so yeah, a lot of this looks like it was a while ago, so I'm just probably going to head back. Look, if I go to the latest, it's going to, most of it, 99% of it's just going to be comments. Like 11 seconds ago, 6 seconds, 6 seconds ago, 3 seconds ago. So, I mean, not really something that I'm really interested in looking through. Just because it's, look, everybody's opinions, they have them. But yeah, anyway, I'll just head back over here, see what's going on. Let's see. Not long now for Jack Ruby to make an appearance. Tyler Robinson, the suspect in the murder of Charlie Kirk, has pleaded not guilty and is refusing to cooperate with investigators. That doesn't surprise me at all. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said that everyone around him is cooperating. Let's hear this. He's the governor of Utah.
And anything new on the investigation? You say he admitted that, confessed? No, not again. He is not.
That lady, she's a fucking propagandist
to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
Confirmed, because the left, they keep saying in like the last day or two that there's no evidence of that. No, his boyfriend wasn't transgender. That's just a right-wing propaganda talking point. Well, no, I mean, the governor himself just confirmed that is the case, and the authorities are saying the same thing. So there you have it. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me that he's not cooperating. Not in the least. And you know what most people on the right would say? It's his right to do so. He has a right to remain silent. And despite everything that's happened, you'll hear a lot of people on the right that would say, look, I respect his constitutional rights. If he wants to remain silent, then so be it. Just let the facts and the evidence speak for itself. Either way, dude's completely fucked. So, and rightfully so. And like I said last night, let me see if I can find that. At least I think I posted that last night. Let me take a quick look here. November 13th. All right, here we go. Oh, I muted that? I don't know why I muted him from Walk Away. Publicly hang Tyler Robinson, build the gallows, and force him to walk before the American public carrying his rope. Alternatively, the firing squad is an authorized execution method in Utah. The left has become barbaric. It's only fitting they receive barbarism in return. And yeah, so there you have it. But yeah, that I was responding to Brandon Straka, who started the Walk Away movement. He said an example needs to be made of Tyler Robinson. The left has engaged in almost completely consequence-free violence for over 8 years, and they really have. I mean, like there's a story of a woman, a young woman, who firebombed a police station, and I believe it was Minneapolis, and she got like fucking probation for that. She wasn't sentenced to like 20 years in prison. No, nothing like that. I think she only got probation. And it's just the same case over and over again. People looting and rioting and smashing shit, and they get absolutely no consequence for it at all. And in fact, that like the law in California, I don't know if it still is, I'm sure it is, that if you're stealing anything under, what is it, $900 or $850, that the police won't even respond to the incident. That just basically like, look, if they're not stealing over $900 worth of stuff, just let them go. And of course, they've turned that into a lot of organized crime, a lot of organized retail theft rings where they target specific things. And when they grab a bunch of shit from the shelves, they make sure that they're just barely below that $900 threshold. And they take off with their trash bags full of merchandise, and they organize it, and they set up eBay accounts and wherever. I'm sure Amazon, I'm sure they've got stuff, these shops set up on Amazon where they just sell stolen merchandise. And I'm sure they're making millions of dollars doing so. All right, anyway. So, Anesthetica. Apologies for this one. This woman is disgusting. Meet Reagan Myers, retail worker at Barnes & Noble in Milwaukee and student at MATC. I'm not even going to bother explaining the video. It's something you just have to watch. Nasty woman. Contact Barnes & Noble Books and ask why. Just why.
He's dead, y'all.
Brainwashed.
Thank God. One down, couple more to go. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. Bye, Charlie Kirk, bitch. Bye. Piss me the fuck off. Bye. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead.
All right, whatever. She's completely brainwashed, clearly. And I don't know, man. I don't know what you do with them. No idea. I don't have all the answers. I guess you do what we can do. Get a hold of Barnes & Noble Books and ask them why the hell they have some far-left extremist who is celebrating the death of an American citizen. And why do you still have this person working for you? Let's see. Erica Kirk always asks Charlie what his words of wisdom were for today. Here are many intimate behind-the-scenes videos with Charlie's answer. Really? This will be a good one.
For everyone today.
Grammar matters more than people realize. Words of wisdom for today.
Learn how to say words backwards.
Words of wisdom for today.
Power shows the man. You want to find out a lot about somebody, give them a bunch of power. Power shows the man. We will be diving deep into Aristotle. We were just at Hillsdale, good school, great school. The only college, the last college.
Words of wisdom for today.
Wise man loves to be corrected. Anyone that wants to replace error with truth is wise.
Wow.
I will. What are your words of wisdom for today?
To know the road ahead, ask those coming back.
And where are we?
We're in an elevator. I like your hat.
Baby.
I like your
What
hat.
are your words of wisdom for today?
Lost time is never found again.
Wise words.
Babe. What are your words of wisdom for today?
He who lies with dogs will rise with fleas. To taste your words before you spit them out.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I do need to get a haircut.
What are your words of wisdom for today? What are your words of wisdom for today?
Looks
Hello,
tired.
everybody. Hope you've been enjoying these. So as a surprise. Counting other people's sins does not make you a saint. Of gain without some pain.
Oh, I love that shirt.
Words of wisdom.
Which is so ironic because once upon a time, the liberals used to love those words as well. They used to always preach about hating big government. Isn't that the whole point of punk rock? You know, down with the machine, with the government, with Big Brother. And now they're everything that they swear they would never be.
From the mountain. What are your words of wisdom for today?
Happy Independence Day weekend, everybody. Say hello to Mikey. Hello. My words of wisdom.
So you mean as a waiter, maybe?
Speed is
They
only
got
useful if you're going in the right direction.
Speed is only useful if you're going in the right direction.
That's deep, babe. Anything else?
God bless the U.S.
Why are we getting that one?
Because he's just the perfect width. Not too fat, not too skinny.
You like that tree?
Looks like Home Depot, right?
Hope we got the right one.
This one's perfect.
They sell Christmas trees at my Home Depot, too.
No. Are you the tree expert?
Tree expert. After many decades of living in the Midwest, I know a good tree. Best one I've ever made.
I know a good tree when I see one.
This is the winner of our poll, MAGA Moosey over low energy, disappointing RNC. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right, Gigi? MAGA Moosey wins. Ultra MAGA Moosey.
Oh, that's Fox and Friends. I think that's it for the words of wisdom. That was a good one. That was good. I didn't realize he did that. I wonder if she asked him that every morning. It sounds like she did. All right. Yep. Absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, definitely need reminders as often as possible. Show all the good things that Charlie Kirk did, because I'm sure that you'd be really hard pressed to find something bad that he did. I think it'd be damn near downright impossible, really. If there was anything, the left would find it, and it would probably be played on repeat on the mainstream news, and I still have yet to hear of such a segment. Raw's alerts breaking 9 minutes ago. Let's see what this is. Watch as a man deliberately desecrated Charlie Kirk's memorial at Turning Point USA headquarters, kicking over flowers, vases, flags, and balloons as he forced his way through the tribute. Reporters say he advanced roughly 15 yards before being subdued by bystanders and promptly taken into custody by police. What a fucking piece of shit. He's lucky to get the fuck beat out of him. Yeah, it's not very good quality, but... Good. Yeah, they arrested him right away. Piece of shit. All right, was that it? Yeah, it looks like that was the gist of it. Thriving. I mean, yeah, I would say that, but I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to keep it short. All right. So yeah, man, that was just 9 minutes ago. So or 16 minutes ago. So that just happened. And yeah, Raw's alerts, they're usually pretty on top of things that are posted. So absolutely, the Democrat Party is the party of violence. Do you agree? Yeah. Just like that meme earlier, you can tally up instances of violence that have been perpetrated by individuals on the left, and you can make the same tally up for the right. And yeah, you're going to be, you're never even going to come close. You'll have like 5 or 6 instances. And like I said, the only one I could think of is fucking 1. And over on the left, you can name hundreds and hundreds. San Diego, September 2023. This is from James O'Keefe. Turning Point Faith Conference. In front of 1,200 pastors at the 2023 TPUSA Faith Conference, Charlie Kirk invited me on stage to receive prayer from Pastor Rob McCoy. This was unplanned. It was one of the most touching moments in my life. Wow.
This is a truth teller. He has exposed every major demonic power center in the country.
Oh,
Pfizer.
Yeah, James O'Keefe, 100%.
DHS, you name it. It's James O'Keefe. Many of you know him. And I want us to pray for James O'Keefe and show him some encouragement. James, come on up here. Give some support for James O'Keefe, everybody.
Yeah, he's a hero in many ways, too. Supporting countless whistleblowers. It's fucking despicable that his own organization pushed him out. Which is Project Veritas, by the way.
He's among folks who love him. Amen. Would you all stand as we come into the presence of the Lord? James, as I was preparing to pray for you, God gave me Mark chapter 9, a man with a demon-possessed child. And he would throw himself in the fire, and he just said, Lord, help him. He said, if you believe, you can do all things. And he said to the Lord, Lord, help my unbelief. And I know you're at a place where you're struggling with that. It'll be resolved. I know you lost, in a sense, a child, because this is a thing you started when you were 25 years old. God's going to resolve that too. And we're going to pray for you and for strength, because God who began a good work is faithful to complete it. All right, man? Join with me. Lord, we're so grateful for James. We're grateful that he loves truth. And as he's been rowing in the streams of truth, he's coming to the source, and that's you. You are the way, the truth, and the life. And Lord, he understands that this is a spiritual battle because he's seen evil face to face. He has experienced the pains of demonic spears just being thrust at him, and all the hurt and the lies and the deceit. But Lord, he also knows that he's not a perfect man. And he recognizes
None of us are.
that. And in humility, and there's humility before honor, but in humility he comes before a room full of pastors and their spouses and those who love the Lord. And he says, would you pray for me? And so God, we're going to pray for him. We're going to ask right now, Lord, that you would do what none of us in this room can do. Would you give him your joy and your peace? Would you bring him to a place where he would come to know the power of the truth, not just being exercised by men and women, but the power of truth living inside us to accomplish great and mighty things we know not of. Lord, I pray that you would give him an overflowing of your spirit, that you would help his unbelief, and that you would strengthen him for the battle ahead. Because, Lord, you're not done with him yet. He is stronger now than he's ever been, in the simple sense that in weakness, God's strength is made perfect. And Lord, you reduce us to a minimum that you might pour in your maximum. So do that for our brother right now, we pray, in the mighty name of Jesus. who is the truth. Amen.
Wow, man.
This is a true.
Oh, that. Yeah, James O'Keefe is a very important American individual for sure. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I've never known his religious views or anything. It wouldn't have surprised me if he wasn't particularly religious. But yeah, if there's, I would put him up on the level of Charlie Kirk with the amount of just evil that he's had to face over his years. Because Project Veritas, they take any tips from anybody, and I can only imagine the amount of tips that they had received over the years. And most of it was just like insider whistleblowers from companies, especially the ones engaging in like radical leftism or just outright illegal activities, whether if it's like fraud or embezzlement or what have you. But yeah, he's exposed tons and tons of people. And yeah, Project Veritas, it was really good. It was a really good organization. And then I really don't know. I know he's talked about it a couple of times. I don't know in detail exactly what the inner workings inside the organization, like what it led to that caused for him to be kicked out. But that's exactly what they did. They kicked him out of the organization that he founded. It'd be the same thing if they pushed Charlie Kirk out of Turning Point USA. Absolutely nonsensical. But they did. And yeah, so he's still fighting the good fight, though. If you hear something, say something. I think that's what the motto was for Project Veritas. That's going to annoy the hell out of me. I really wish that it wouldn't freaking keep saying that. I don't really want to start over again. Arrest this pandemic planner. He's doing this again because he wasn't thrown in prison the last few times. The last outbreak will be of a respiratory disease that's easily transmissible, that has significant degree of morbidity. Oh, fucking Fauci. Yeah, whatever. Not going to listen to that asshole. Yep. They definitely should be overturning all of those auto pin pardons so they can go after Fauci. He absolutely needs to be prosecuted. And what's hilarious is that he's like one of the big darlings of the left, but they didn't really see him that way back in the early 90s during the AIDS epidemic. Liana Marie P., a master sergeant in the U.S. Air Force, who recently made some awful remarks about Charlie Kirk's death. We have a lack of discipline in our current military ranks. This needs to get fixed ASAP. Oh yeah, she's gone, man. She's gonna be. I don't know if they would dishonorably discharge her. Not sure, but I just read the other day. It was a statement from the Air Force itself on X, and they said that they're taking every one of these posts very seriously, and they're going to be swiftly dealt with. So yeah, I'm sure she's probably as good as discharged. I just not sure if it'll be honorable or dishonorable. It should be dishonorable because I'm sure she's violating all kinds of codes of conduct in the military without any doubt. And it makes you wonder if she said, look, like, what did she say? If she says this stuff about Charlie Kirk, what do you think she's saying about her commander-in-chief? Her commander-in-chief, the president of the United States. Let's go ahead and wrap up this Charlie Kirk situation up in the next 48 hours. His killing was crazy to see, which that wasn't so easily accessible on my timeline, and I definitely don't condone that violence. Okay. Shifting gears, I really want to paint this picture that he was this noble man trying to bridge America together. It's diabolical. He was clearly racist, homophobic, and sexist. Yeah, we hear the buzzwords, but we don't hear any instances of that, which the left always does. They throw out buzzwords, but they provide zero context. Google, YouTube, and X are free. His ideology and his words were extremely dangerous. Okay, do tell. How so? And the fact that the American flag is being flown half-staff is crazy work. As what I said, I'm not going back and forth with nobody. Argue with your mama, not me. Then why are you saying the shit? It is crazy, dude. These modern feminist women, they lack any and all accountability. They lack any and all shame. And TikTok has absolutely broken so many people's brains. What they call it, TikTok brain. And usually that's in a reference to short term, what's it called? ADHD or whatever. But people on there, they post anything and everything. It's crazy. Bragging about how they get like $1,500 a month in food stamps, and they show like all the bullshit that they're buying with it. And it's just unbelievable. And it just goes on and on. It's crazy. President Trump has announced he will be attending Charlie Kirk's funeral and will give him the Presidential Medal of Honor. It's the Medal of Freedom. Well, yeah, the Presidential Medal of Honor, it's the same thing. It's Medal of Freedom. But I think it's the highest civilian army or honor that the government has, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't think that's new, though. I heard that he was being awarded the Medal of Freedom a couple days ago. I think Trump's already come out and said that. So, and I don't think that surprises anyone at all that he's going to be at Charlie Kirk's funeral. Meet Lori Roxanne from New Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, now living in Manhattan. She went to Penn State. Have fun. If you fly this, or that, you're not a patriot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't even want to get into what she's saying. Not at this point. It's pretty clear what she's saying. Eric Doherty, breaking. President Trump is calling on foreign companies who invest in America to bring in experts to train up American workers rather than import foreign labor. Good. Great idea. So glad President Trump is pushing for this. No replacing Americans. Chips, semiconductors, computers, trains, and so many other products that we have to learn from others how to make, or in many cases, relearn, because we used to be great at it, but not anymore. For example, shipbuilding. We used to build a ship a day, and now we're barely building a ship a year. I don't want to frighten off or disincentivize investment into America by outside countries or companies. We welcome them. We welcome their employees, and we are willing to proudly say we will learn from them, do even better than them at their own game sometime into the not too distant future. You know, that's something that he probably could have just copied and pasted from what people over in the CCP were saying at some point, because that's what they were doing to America. They were sending people over, and they were learning and then eventually doing better than them at their own game. That's China's outlook, which is why it was appalling to see that President Trump was still perfectly fine with 300,000 Chinese nationals coming over here and getting a college education. And he was okay with that. I don't know if he walked that back or not. I don't think he has yet. But yeah, he said over the next 2 years that 600,000 Chinese students are going to be getting an education in America. It's like, dude, they're arguably our number one adversary right now. They've been quite clear that they want to replace us economically, certainly. And they want to be the leading superpower in the world. And we're going to invite them by the hundreds of thousands to get an education here. Why? Would they do the same for us? If we were number two trying to become the number one country, do you think China would let hundreds of thousands of our citizens in there to get an education from China to see how China was able to ascend to the number one spot and how they're able to innovate like an absurd amount of technology and just different things that we get to enjoy every day? No, fuck no. They wouldn't do that. So it's ridiculous. I think they should completely cut off China. I don't think one single Chinese citizen should be coming here to get an education. I don't care how rich their family is. I don't care if they're going to pay $1 million a year for an education. Fuck that. They can get their education in China. It wouldn't be nearly as powerful as they are today if not for American influence, for sure, and American acceptance of outsiders who want to come and get an education, because we just see the good intentions in it. You know, like, come over here, get an education. Maybe you can make your country better, and then perhaps you can learn some patriotic morals and values along the way that you can take back to China and say, oh, I love it there because, you know, you can freely express yourself. You can freely do this and that. But no, that's not happening. No, man, it's a communist country, for crying out loud. I've always said their stolen land narrative is a fable. What do you think certain groups are trying to do to America right now? They may succeed, but not in my generation. Yeah, that's not on the day of.
Just want to make sure, I love this stolen land argument. Okay. If we stole the land and you're mad about it,
I'm not saying that it's
I didn't
not
steal
a better
any land.
country right now. I'm just saying that right now, especially like the things that we're taught in school, in public education, we're taught about the Alamo and how it was this amazingly patriotic act, though it was literally stealing a base from the Mexicans in their own land. I think that that's kind of the wrong angle to be looking at things, and that's why I really make it a point to notice that I'm on stolen land at all times, especially when we think about things like manifest destiny.
Who did the Mex?
But like, we're not on stolen land. Our ancestors, or just early Americans, they fought for it. They fought for it. They didn't just say, "Get off our land. This isn't yours anymore. This is ours now." And not saying American history was perfect. You know, I'm not saying that necessarily had a right to fight for it, but hey, man, that's history. That's the way wars usually break out. It's usually over land and resources. I mean, that's the way it's always been throughout the entirety of human history.
Can steal the land from.
Actually, the Mexicans were there originally in Texas because
not correct. Wrong. They stole it from lots of Indian tribes. That's not correct. Thousands of years before they were Indian tribes. So the Mexicans
the Mexicans were the original. Originally, Mexicans were Aztecs and Mayans. And
Well,
many
some of
other
them, hold on.
indigenous
Texas
people.
was not indigenously Mexican, though. There was the Cherokee. There were many different Native American tribes there. So
Maybe the Navajo. I don't know if the Navajo were in Texas specifically, but that's one of the Southwest tribes, if I'm not mistaken. Like, look, I'm going way back. We learned a lot about Native Americans in middle school. I don't know if that's still a thing today, but I remember they put like some pretty heavy emphasis on learning about Native American history when I was in, I think it was 6th grade.
Mexico was participating in Manifest Destiny at the behest of the Spanish crown.
Yes, at the behest of the Spanish
so
crown.
at some point, you have to believe in self-determination.
Okay.
If you can win
I was
the
just saying,
land,
man,
it's yours.
Spain, they're
That's what
responsible
built
for
the
a lot of
West.
that stuff.
I can agree
And
with
so
you on that
instead
stuff.
of
Thank you
saying
for-
land acknowledgement, we're on stolen land, you know what you should have? You should have a gratitude acknowledgement. Praise God, I live in America. I'm glad.
Absolutely. That's where we are today, dude. And that's where we've been for a couple hundred years at this point. You know, recognize history happened, but don't be bending over backwards to have guilt over it. It's history. Learn from it, or learn the history. Not saying that it shouldn't be taught. History should be taught. This hot war is between good and evil, God and Satan, Christians and Jews. Fight, fight, fight. Okay. Pentagram. Yeah, I don't even know what to make of that, but okay. Waltz was slated to be VP of the USA. Praise God he is not. You know, I can only imagine what this is. Well done. Torches his record on live TV. Did this just happen? It's a little long, though. It's like 5 minutes, but... All right, I'll check it out, though. Take a look at this. See what this is all about. Well, it looks like he's giving testimony.
You have failed the people of Minnesota to provide free health care to illegal aliens.
Yes, he
You signed
did.
the Higher Education Omnibus Bill into law in May of 2023. That bill allows illegals to have their college tuition paid.
He does. He constantly has that resting face of, I don't know what you're talking about. He's always... It is like deer in headlights, the way that he's always looking like, what? I couldn't have done that. Which is hilarious that his whole family, that's what I mentioned yesterday, like, and I'm just assuming that it's true, but apparently his entire family were all Trump supporters. Like, he was the only one in his entire family who wasn't. The guy who was slated to be VP if they were to win. I just think that's hilarious for the freaking Democrats.
For by the state. You signed the Driver's License for All Act into law in March of 2023, and that bill...
Yeah, and I wonder why. Maybe it's because, I don't know, so the illegal immigrants could fucking vote.
Allows illegals to receive driver's licenses. So...
And a pathway to voting.
You're not a sanctuary state. You just provide free health care, free college, and driver's licenses to illegal aliens.
He's so fucking
One reason
retarded.
you're here testifying before us today is because
We're not
you
a sanctuary
refuse
city.
to cooperate with ICE.
Or a
While
state,
states like
I mean.
Florida and Virginia empower their law enforcement to detain and remove criminal illegal aliens, you, sir, have done just the opposite. Your Attorney General is directing law enforcement to ignore ICE immigration detainers.
Of course they
Do
are.
you agree with the Attorney General's guidance?
Well, Congressman, it's good to see you again, and thank you for being here. First,
just
I'd
answer
say
the
is my
fucking
job
question.
as governor of Minnesota is to make Minnesota the best state in the
Do
nation.
you agree with the Attorney General's guidance?
Yes,
Congressman,
or
what I would
no?
say on this is that Minnesota follows all law. I
Sure,
would
it's,
say
it's a very easy question. And
The
again, if you claim you're not a sanctuary state, you just claim that you support policies. You're not a sanctuary state, but you support policies that prevent ICE from doing their job.
Yeah, well, why is
Congressman,
that?
Isn't that right?
That is incorrect, Congressman. We follow the same laws when
Well,
you were in the Minnesota
sir,
House. The law
sir,
has not changed,
If
sir.
you'll allow me, I've got limited time. Well, that's what you tweeted, by the way, sir. And on May 23rd, 2018, you tweeted, quote, I support policies that
You just
keep...
be like, oh, that wasn't me. That was like my interns. They're the ones. I'm sure a lot of politicians try to hide behind that. Like, well, it might be my government account, but it's not like literally me doing
law
it.
enforcement from enforcing federal laws, close quote. On May 17th, just this spring, at the University of Minnesota Law School's commencement ceremony, you said, quote, Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. When you said
Fucking
the words
wow, man.
modern-day Gestapo, you were referring to ICE agents. Gestapo,
Yeah.
by the way,
Who else
sir,
could they
was
be?
the official secret police of Hitler's Nazi Germany. So you're calling
Fucking
ICE
evil.
agents modern-day Nazis.
Yep.
Given the attacks on ICE agents that took place in Los Angeles over the weekend, don't you regard your dangerous inflammatory rhetoric as a problem?
What? He's doing that shit on
questions
purpose.
you want me to answer first?
So, sir, it saddens me that you refuse to
Playing
express
fucking
regret
games.
from comparing ICE to Nazis. ICE
Yep.
agents are brave Americans who get up every morning, leave their families, and put their lives in harm's way to protect our country, sir. You, at the very least, owe an apology to these dedicated public servants. I will say, sir, inflammatory rhetoric such as yours and the other governors on this panel is responsible for putting a target on the back of every ICE agent who is risking their life to protect our communities. Minnesota is all too familiar, by the way, with the chaos that ensues when you refuse to work with law enforcement to enforce the law. In May 2020, looting, acts of violence, and arson occurred on your watch in Minneapolis after you
100%.
refused to bring in the National Guard. Governor, your agenda is clear. Free health care, free college and driver's licenses for illegals while handcuffing law enforcement when they're trying to protect our citizens and their communities. If you think that's not a sanctuary state, you shouldn't be governor. By turning Minnesota into a magnet for illegals, you have opened up our communities to dangerous criminals, including known terrorists, gang members, murderers, and child predators. You have sent a resounding message that if you're a hardworking, law-abiding citizen of Minnesota, your safety and well-being are not the priorities of Tim Walz and his administration.
Well, not only that, but we're going to take your hard-earned tax money and we're going to spend it on people who have no right to be here at all.
But if you're coming to our state illegally, you're not only welcome with open arms,
You're giving free
entitled
money
to free stuff on the taxpayer's dime. This is absolutely disgraceful.
And how much of that money came from the federal government, too? I bet a lot of that during the Biden administration came straight from the federal government.
Governor Walz, your sanctuary state agenda has been defined by your utter failure.
Which is why our inflation's
You have
so fucked
failed
up.
to enforce the rule of law. You have failed to uphold our national sovereignty. And most importantly, you have failed the people of Minnesota. The time for radical sanctuary state policy, sir, is over. The voters made that clear last November when they elected President Trump and Vice President.
Well, to be fair, Minnesota didn't. They didn't elect Trump or J.D. Vance. In fact, Minnesota, they've been blue going all the way back to, what, the 70s, if not before that. I think Minnesota was the only state who didn't elect Richard Nixon on, what was that, his second win or something like that. And the same with, I'm trying to think who else it was. Ronald Reagan, that was the other one. I was trying to think of, like, who were the two in the 20th century who won every single fucking state. Every single state, except Minnesota. So, yeah, they've been, I don't know if radical would be the right way to put Minnesota over the last 5 decades or so. It certainly wouldn't surprise me if it were like that. However, somehow he keeps winning the governorship, though. I mean, at the end of the day, Minnesota's voting for him. And I don't know if he started getting extreme with illegal immigration and free all this bullshit for illegals after he was elected for a second time. I don't even know. I'm assuming he's not still in his first term, because I mean, if he's talking tweets going back to 2018 when he was governor, then obviously he's probably getting close to the end of his second term at this point.
J.D. Vance, you remember him, don't you? Governor, the time for real leaders and real leadership is now. And with that, sir, actually, Mr. Chairman,
Minnesota's got to quit voting for these people, man.
I ask unanimous consent to introduce into the record the governor's tweet that I referenced from May 23rd, 2018, which makes it clear his hatred for federal law enforcement.
Calling him Gestapo. Wow, man, that was intense. Absolute destruction. And so you might wonder, like, why didn't he allow him to answer any questions? Because usually in these committee hearings, they only have 5 minutes. And their time expires and they're not able to continue talking or asking questions. Sometimes, depending on who the chairman is, if this is in the House or in the Senate, then the chairman's going to be a Republican. So sometimes they allow like a little bit of wiggle room if they're in the middle of like a heated exchange or something. But typically, once the time expires, they can't keep going on. So he obviously had a lot to say in his very limited time. If it's a really intense hearing, they'll do a second round of questioning, and I think even in some instances they'll do a third round of questioning where all of the officials who are in the committee, they go all the way through all of them. They each get 5 minutes, and then if they still have time, then they'll do a second round. But he knew Tim Walz wasn't going to answer any of those questions. That's why he didn't give him adequate time, except for that one or maybe two. So yeah, man, Minnesota, quit voting, man. Quit voting for these radical leftists. It's hard to feel bad for them. I mean, look, I feel bad for every one of them who are conservatives, which a lot of people in Minnesota are. Matter of fact, here, we'll find out right now. Let's go to new. It shouldn't take long. Should be a pretty straightforward. Approximately 38% of registered voters in Minnesota are Republican based on data as of August 27th, 2025. So a pretty good portion of them. How much have they been gerrymandering? Probably heavily. Just curious. Because in California, there's what, 52, 53 House representatives from California. And California is like almost 40% Republican, but they only have 7 out of like 52. Just 7 of them are Republicans. And they're like, we're not gerrymandering. Well, it's not exactly proportionate now, is it? Pretty far from it. Let's see, 40% of U.S. Congress members from Minnesota are Republicans. Okay, well, then that would seem to suggest that there's not gerrymandering going on in Minnesota. This includes the state's 2 Democratic senators and 8 House representatives, 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats, based on the current 119th Congress delegation. Oh, okay, Congressman. Okay, yeah, so that would include the senators. Okay, I get it. So as far as the House representatives go from the districts in Minnesota, it's 50-50. Half Republican, half Democrat. That kind of surprises me, actually. I was expecting it to be like 2 Republicans and 6 Democrats or something like that. Yeah, but still. Yeah, Minnesota, man, they got a lot of problems up there, which is kind of surprising because it's in like the northern Great Plains. It's not a coastal state or anything. But yeah, like I've said, that Minnesota, man, they've been blue for a really long time. All right, let's see. See if there's anything else going on. Candace Owens, I spoke to a priest for an hour and would like to apologize for the fact that I hate everybody right now. I know it's wrong. Yeah, well, I can't exactly blame her. A lot of anger right now. Students follow the examples and norms set by their professors. This is not what this campus stands for. Who is this? Christian student at Clemson, American. Take a look at this.
So this woman over here said, "Fuck yo homie, he dead. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk." Famous quotes, you know. Ma'am, why do you support the public execution of Charlie Kirk? Why do you support?
Why are you such a coward, woman? Fucking coward.
On campus? Do you feel proud in your ideology, ma'am?
Because she's
you at least
evil.
Gotta look me in the eye and talk about it. I mean, it's something that I'm open to talk about.
Ah, you triggered her.
Why do you support the public
She
execution
triggered.
of Charlie Kirk? Because he's a terrible person and he deserves to die. That's awesome. Well, thank you very much, ma'am.
Got her.
A man who dedicated his life to free speech decided, somebody decided to take his life, assassinate him. If Earth rated his neck with a 30-06. Yeah.
Fuck your homie, he dead. Most of the ass got hit in the head. Fuck your homie, he dead. Like.
Probably not paying for her tuition. It's probably being covered by whether if it's the Pell Grant, probably has some scholarships, probably some DEI bullshit. Unbelievable. No accountability, no shame at all. Well, I mean, she's getting shamed now. Up to 8,000. What was this? Oh, okay, that was yesterday. All right, anyway. Just goes on and on, man. They're exposing themselves. They're so overly emotional, they cannot contain their own emotions. Because they believe that they're in the majority. They believe that if they celebrate, then they'll be embraced by the leftist cult and they'll be championed as a hero for speaking out and celebrating Charlie's death. When the opposite is obviously the case. Thank God. But yeah, this has got to stop. It's got to quit. Especially radicalizing children. Because it's very clearly they're doing it because they're playing the long game. They want to radicalize a number of children to the point where 20, 30 years down the road that the majority of America will be radicalized. That's what they're aiming for. Jameel Hill of The Atlantic goes on a defamatory rant and falsely accuses Charlie Kirk of being a white supremacist. Of course, she gives zero evidence to support her defamatory statements, which I've said over and over again. They have buzzwords, but they have nothing at all to back them up. Nothing at all. The Atlantic needs to fire Hill, and she should be sued by Erica. Yeah, well, especially if she's spitting defamatory bullshit, which wouldn't surprise me at all if she was.
The reason he was labeled a white supremacist is because he believed in the superiority of white people. Which
Example?
is why he said that he would be concerned if he saw a black pilot.
It's so fucking cringe that somebody would spend thousands of dollars to put their shoes in like a fucking oversized china cabinet. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Which is why he said that he questioned the brain
Somebody's not
processing
responsible with money.
of brilliant minds such as Joy Ann Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson, because he ultimately believed in the superiority of white people. So I don't think I'm being...
No, it's because Ketanji Brown Jackson can't even identify what a fucking woman is. She can't even give the definition of it. She can't even describe what it is. She told the Senate that she was unable to do so. That's probably why he didn't exactly support her being nominated for the Supreme Court, because she's fucking brain dead. At least it would seem to suggest that she might be.
The reason he was late, and Charlie Kirk, with his words and with his influence, he made a lot of people who were not straight white Christian men feel less than human, feel less than qualified, feel a lot of less thans. Was dangerous.
Facts, data, statistics.
And I think it's Jay-Z.
That's what he stands
That's
behind.
a difference of opinion. What's not considered a difference of opinion? If you think black people are inherently inferior to white people, and I think the opposite, that is not a difference of opinion. That is you being a racist. And we have, unfortunately...
And give an example. I'd love to hear an example. Show us a video clip. Show us something that actually paints exactly what you just said. Because she can't find one. That's why she has nothing here. She has no pieces of paper. She has no posts, no information, no text, no videos, no nothing. All she has is just her fucking mouth. That's it.
Matters of humanity in the bucket of politics where it does not belong. See, it's not political to say that black people are unqualified and inherently criminal. That is not a political belief.
That's something Democrats say. People on the right don't say that.
Because you're ascribing a pathology to a people, to a construct of race, which is made up, by the way, and made up for the entire and sole purpose of being able to establish who's on top and who's on bottom. But that's a history lesson for another day. But if you don't believe that I am as human as you, that I deserve respect and dignity just because I'm here, that's not a difference of opinion, and we ain't got shit else to talk about.
That's the left, not the right.
That
all right, whatever. I'm just going to keep going on with that. Just a bunch of bullshit propaganda. Low IQ, I might add. How long before it becomes shameful to be MAGA? Liberal comparing what happened in Germany to what is happening to MAGA. When will the liberals start to feel the shame? Well, they should start feeling it about now.
For it to be shameful to have been a Nazi. Because that's seeming like it's going to take that amount of time for it to be shameful to be MAGA. It's wrong. Everyone knows it's wrong. They know that it's wrong themselves by now.
Again, no examples, nothing. All they have is just the buzzwords. Well, it's just like wrong. Well, how's it wrong? Because it just is. Because it is. The end. I don't want to hear more about it. I'm going to plug my ears now. La, la, la,
But
la,
they
la.
just won't admit that. So what are we looking at? Like 10 years? 50? 100? How can we speed
She
this
has another...
process up?
She has another a piercing, whatever they call them, that sucks at aiming because they missed the septum and accidentally clipped the edge of her nostril. Sebastian Gorka. This isn't journalism. This is protecting those who hate America. Shame on you. We are saving lives. Yeah, he is a very high IQ intellectual, and I mean that.
A member of Al-Qaeda. If you're a member of Al-Qaeda, you're a terrorist.
How do you know if that they're members of these gangs? What I'm saying
You mean
is,
the tattoos MS-13 on our knuckles doesn't,
Well,
that doesn't help it?
those
Do you have tattoos of Al-Qaeda?
the tattoo
On-
did
on
not
your- on
say
your wrist?
MS-13. I don't want to get into that.
Oh, of course it does. It's
Oh,
just
he's gonna
accidents.
eviscerate her,
The,
man.
the four symbols represent the letters MS. See, this is why Politico is a joke. This is why you are gutter press and fake news. That those four symbols that just happen to comport with the letters MS and the numbers 13 don't, in this case, represent MS-13. You're sitting here live defending a member of MS-13. That's why I regret coming
Hilarious.
here. Because this isn't journalism. This is protecting those who hate America. Shame on you.
This is
We
me
are
asking
saving
questions,
lives.
sir.
Saving lives. How about Maryland fathers compared to Maryland mothers? Like Rachel Marin, mother of 5, raped and murdered and thrown in a ditch. How about Jocelyn Nungare, age 12, raped?
Well, I don't know who she is, and I don't know who that person is either. Yeah, because your news outlet, your trash news outlet, refuses to even talk about it. All of these instances, they instantly said, nope, we're not leading with that one. That doesn't comport to our propaganda.
A mile from her home
Can I-
and thrown in a ditch. It's strange that Politico doesn't do articles about her, that mother, or that 12-year-old girl. Why is that? Why is the
elevate
MS-13
the
guy
criminals.
with the knuckle tattoos more important in terms of due process than the lives of 12-year-old girls brutally raped? It's weird that the priorities shift to defending the member of an FTO, but not the children and...
Yeah, and also not to mention the coyotes and the cartels smuggling hundreds of thousands of children into the country, and the Biden administration lost them. They don't know where they are. I heard for a long time it was 300,000, which is an unfathomable number. Losing 300,000 children inside the United States. I mean, that's like one of the most horrific thoughts I can imagine, especially around the same time they're talking about Jeffrey Epstein and pedos and child predators. And, oh, yeah, by the way, we lost 300,000 children from other countries inside America. We don't know where they are. We don't know their names. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know anything. It's not 300,000. It's more like 500,000 or 400-something thousand. It was a much higher number than they originally were reporting on.
The women. Dan Crenshaw.
Oh, yeah, but they found, but they did find like 15,000, though. They found like 15 or 20,000. I think it was the FBI who came out and gave those numbers. And I'm thinking that's a wonderful thing. It's great that they found them. However, that's like, what, 5%? Somewhere between 5 and 10%. It's still just unthinkable.
Told me
man.
a story once of a 16-year-old girl who was smuggled across this border. The parents paid $5,000 for her to live in America, the land of milk and honey. She ended up locked in a room in New York, raped by more than a dozen men every day for 18 months until she escaped. She went to Dan Crenshaw's office, and I'm no friend of Dan Crenshaw's, okay?
I'm not.
He's still got TDS. And that girl said to him, please close the border so another girl doesn't have to be raped by 12 strange men every day for 18 months. It's strange that Politico doesn't cover those stories.
of course
Could
they
you
don't.
tell me why?
We have covered.
No, you haven't. You have not covered those stories. I'd like to see the Jocelyn Nungare, Rachel Marin stories in comparison to the Russia collusion garbage.
Absolutely.
I mean, let's be honest here.
Let's move
You
on.
have an
Your
agenda.
propaganda shills. Oh, man, that ended way too soon. Yep, absolutely fucking obliterated her. That was great. I just emailed Mr. Brown, director of the department where she is employed, and sent him a copy of this post she made. Architecture of Chicago, the School of Architecture. Oh, okay, so they're replying to... Let's see. Meet Serena Luciano. She is here on a student visa from Argentina. Well, actually, you don't even have to. Well, I mean, of course, you'd want to report this to where she works, but also the Department of Homeland Security has reached out to the American people and said that if you know anybody who is a foreigner that's in the country on a visa, a work visa, or a green card, to report them to, I think it was the Department of Homeland Security, and they will respond accordingly. In other words, they're going to deport their asses. So she's here on a student visa. She currently works at a college recruiter for the University of Illinois College of Architecture, Design, and the Arts, UICSOA, UIC School of Architecture, where she's also pursuing her master's in urban higher education. Because of course she is. Her words, Charlie Kirk can rest in effing P. It's hot as F where that man currently is, and it's deserved. Yeah, well, the opposite is clearly, obviously true. The opposite. So, yeah. So they emailed him. Yep, you got all the email addresses right here. Might as well email all of them. I attached a copy of her post to the email I sent him this evening. I asked for her to be fired from the university. I'm not sure who this is. Okay, so just, you know, just someone like me, just like everyday X user. Suddenly, the right is cool with cancel culture. Well, you know, eye for an eye, motherfucker. Y'all should be very well aware of how cancel culture works. I mean, they should be fully expecting that at this point. Would you think that we wouldn't know how to do it? I mean, that's like probably one of the reasonable things that people can think of that should happen to them, because you can't imprison somebody for words that they use unless it's like a call to violence or something. So yeah, you got to go after them in any way you can that's legal. And in most states, there's no right to work laws in most states, meaning that if you say something or believe in something or call for something or behave in a way that's not aligned with your employer's morals and values and their mission statement, then they have no legal obligation to keep you on as an employee. Nancy Pelosi, Trump's words are violence. Nancy Pelosi, after someone becomes radicalized by the far left and kills Charlie Kirk. We can't take responsibility for what people do after they hear us speak. Really?
This is violence against women. He may not know that, but when he says things like, I want to protect women whether they like it or not, that is violence against women. Would you want your son to say that to anyone? Would you want your daughter to be told that? Would you want your husband to say that to you, whether you like it or not? Violence against women.
People don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
Oh my God, dude. So evil. Absolutely evil. Geez, so vile. New York Post. Teacher allegedly showed Charlie Kirk assassination video to 10 and 11-year-olds. Yeah, I think this happened in the UK, I think. Told students he deserved to be killed. Yeah, apparently that this teacher was putting it on repeat on a big screen. I think so. If they have... Why don't they have the freaking article, man? Wait. Oh, okay, here it is. Sorry. I'm used to them posting it below in a second post. But maybe not. Oh, it was in Canada. Okay, Canada. Yeah, I mean, I was close. Public school teacher suspended after allegedly showing a video of Charlie Kirk's assassination of students as young as 10 in his class, authorities in Canada said. The teacher also suggested that Kirk deserved to be killed and gave the young students a speech about anti-fascism and transgender issues, according to a report. It's a cult. They're in a cult. Several students from his class went home and complained to their parents, traumatized at witnessing the on-camera death, which they were forced to witness numerous times over, a source told the Toronto Sun after the shocking incident at a school in Toronto on Thursday. Yeah, I mean, like I've said, even adults who are listening to my words, or you're just out there just browsing around, if you would prefer not to see it, don't see it. But like I said, if you feel compelled to watch it, it should be made available, or it should remain out there for you to see if you really want to see what evil is truly capable of. The Corvette junior public school teacher was suspended following the alleged incident. Suspended, there's that buzzword again, which means they're not firing them, which means they're probably still going to be getting paid. Parents subsequently reached out to school administrators who will be putting him on leave at the start of the school day. Well, is it unpaid leave or is it paid leave? Of course it's paid leave. And this teacher is probably conveniently just about a year or two away from his pension. So they're gonna keep him just hanging in limbo for the next year or so until he's able to get his full pension, and then they will have him resign. That tends to happen. Not saying it's going to. I'm not saying that that is what will happen. I'm just saying that that's happened. That's happened in the past, where people say abhorrent things, things they should absolutely be terminated for professionally, and they just keep them under suspension until they can collect their pension. We will not tolerate those who celebrate or mock the assassination of a fellow American at the Department of War. It's a violation of the oath. It's conduct unbecoming. It's a betrayal of the Americans they've sworn to protect and dangerously incompatible with military service. Rep. Jason Crow. Pete Hegseth, hunting down and prosecuting service members for their individual political beliefs is dangerous and un-American. We must condemn political violence and allow peaceful speech that doesn't impact the chain of command. Dude, y'all ain't been preaching peaceful speech at all. It was your rhetoric, maybe not you specifically, but I'm sure he played a big part in it, calling everyday conservatives fascists and Nazis. That's not peaceful speech, dude. Now, if we took the left's definition of hate speech, it would be exactly that. You would be engaging in hate speech, sir. And every single one of them, look, especially, look, if they were to pass free or hate speech laws, and if they were to be applied retroactively, almost the entirety of the Democrat Party would be immediately thrown in prison, probably for life, especially if they were compounding charges on top of the other. Like every time that you called somebody a Nazi when they can verifiably prove that they are not one. And if you said that to this about the same person 50 times and you got 50 charges for that, and each one comes with like a 6-month sentence, yeah, you're gonna be gone for a quarter of a fucking century. Because the right doesn't engage in that behavior, it's the left. Accuse the other side of what you're already guilty of, which is what they do time and time again. They are the party of hate speech. They just wanted to get out ahead of it and accuse the other side of it first. So then that way, when the right says, dude, you're calling people fascists and Nazis, you're literally doing hate speech. Nuh-uh, we already said you're doing that. So that's what you're doing. We're not doing that. You're doing that. No, you are a fascist. Well, please do tell. Give examples. They can't. You see a comment that fills you with anger, respond with this video. This is the only response that truly matters. Save this video and use it. Let's expand his legacy and the gospel he preached. Let's share this far and wide because the gospel saves. If we want change, we need to make disciples. Let's hear this from Charlie Kirk.
For those of you that are not yet believers, it's very simple. You're going to have a court date. We all die. And you're all going to meet the supreme judge of the universe. Justice is getting what you deserve, which is going to a not so good place. We're all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. But thanks to the cross, a perfect, loving God who came down in human form, human flesh, lived a perfect life and died for us so that we can live forever. At that moment, we're about to get that sentencing into eternal damnation. Somebody says, no, I know him. I know her. Welcome to eternal life. You have an opportunity. The gospel in 4 words is Jesus took my place. 3 words is him for me. 2 words is substitutionary atonement. And 1 word is grace. Grace, you cannot earn. Grace, you do not pay for. It doesn't matter how much money you give to the hospital. You can't earn it. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if you have always done the best you can, because what's different about Christianity is that it's a gift for all of humanity to receive regardless of everything that we have done. And your life will be transformed. You will be born again. Grace is not earned. It is given by a God who loves you and wants to spend eternity with you. It is the most important decision you can make in your life. Here I am. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Yep, and our country was founded on Judeo-Christian values. Doing the right thing, doing to others. Don't do right from wrong. Don't do the wrong things. Don't steal. Don't hurt others around you. Have respect for your community, for people that you live around. And yeah, they've completely abandoned all that on the left. Never thought of that, MC, but you're right. They would at least try. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I don't know if it's related or not. I just realized that if Jesus were to return right now, he would be crucified again. No. Okay. Oh, okay. I get what he's saying. Just probably from the left, of course, right? I'm assuming that's where he was getting at. Who is it? Trying to think who that was. Bill Hicks. He did some Christian bits. He was a comedian that passed away in the 90s, just an absolute like comedic genius. And he was like, he said, you know, if Jesus were to come back right now, he'd probably have a fucking Uzi with him. The Savior's back, and he's pissed off. I didn't say what mood I was coming back in. Oh man, he was great. He was raised very devoutly Christian, and I believe he came out and said he was an atheist at some point. So yeah, it was very well read in Christianity, which made him his jokes to hit it so precisely and so effectively in his comedy. I'd love to play that, but I'm sure it's probably got copyright stuff, you know. I'd love to play that bit because that was so funny. He had a lot of them, man. Bill Hicks was great. If you've not heard of Bill Hicks, that's the comedian you want to watch tonight. He's got some specials that are on YouTube. They're not in really good quality. They're in kind of grainy quality, at least the ones that I've seen. But it's a comedian. You're not watching fucking Star Wars or anything. You know, you're just watching a dude on a stage. It's the words you got to hear, not the quality of the video. Let's see. Garrett O'Boyle. If he didn't or he was too cowardly to even mention his name, remind him that on the way to eternal damnation, cowards are listed first. But as for the cowardly, their portion will be in the lake that burns with fire and sulfur, which is the second death. Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. Did your pastor talk about Charlie Kirk today? If he did, what did he say? Wow, that's a good question. I'll bet churches all over the country, without any doubt. I'm sure that everybody was. Because, yeah, this is the first Sunday after his passing. He sure did. He talked how Charlie was a Christian martyr and about what he did. He then talked about the girl who was stabbed and on to the school shooting. Talked about persecution and the Christian, how important it is to be bold in our faith, mental illness, trans, gay, and sin. Then on to Phil, chapter 3, verse 1 through 21. All right. But yeah, anyway, yeah, just a lot of people just saying like what they talked about. That's interesting. That'd be an interesting read. Repost it. I can check it later. Let's see. My daughter told me that she unfollowed about 20 of her friends on Instagram because of the vile things they said celebrating Charlie's death. Then she told me that she lost about 10 followers because she posted something in remembrance of 9/11. What? I'm sorry, what? She said, yeah, apparently they know you're conservative if you care about 9/11. That blew my mind. Public schools and social media have really done a number on Gen Z. Yeah, they absolutely have. It's been an absolute disgrace. Yeah, because they associate 9/11 with patriotism, because after that happened, and I was around, I was 17 when that happened, so it's pretty well seared in my memory that everybody got extremely patriotic when that happened. Everybody had an American flag. Everybody had the Bring Our Troops Home, those magnets on your trunk or on your bumper, your vehicle. Everybody had those. Tying the ribbons around the trees. I mean, yeah, man, everybody got really patriotic when 9/11 happened. So that just goes to show that the left is purely anti-American. They're just in. There's no other way that you could really communicate that. But they're anti-American to their core. Anything that is rooted in American values, they want to just absolutely uproot and just burn down. This is for the demonic people. You have awakened an army. All right. See what this is.
Got a message for you demonic people. Come closer. Let me give you a little history that you probably never knew of. And you probably did, but you probably don't know the facts. See, when they killed Jesus, They were celebrating the same way that you demonic people are celebrating my guy Charlie Kirk's death. Now here's what you guys don't realize. When Jesus died, demons and Satan himself, they thought they accomplished the greatest mission. They were celebrating, hell was on fire because they were having parties, and it was so great for them, right? Well, let me break it to you. When Jesus then rose from the dead, not only did he show Satan and his demons in hell that he defeated death and sin, but he also showed Lucifer, I'm the boss now. I have the keys, and the gates of hell will be closed.
Absolutely.
Now fast forward to Charlie Kirk's assassination. Not only are you demonic people celebrating something so evil, but you don't even realize what you have done. You thought that you were going to shut one voice down, right? Not knowing that you just awakened an army of 100 million people that are lukewarm Christians, people that didn't believe in God, or people that were once with God and now are returning. See, it's kind of like the same situation. And I'm not saying Charlie Kirk is Jesus, but since he lived for Jesus and he spoke for Jesus and he was a vessel, you just awakened an army and you thought that you was going to celebrate. Well, I can say, laugh now, cry later, because we on the way.
Absolutely. Oh, and you know churches were packed today, without any doubt. This is a very big day. Very big day in faith. Elizabeth Clark, a 5th grade math teacher at Rockaway Township School District who thinks that Charlie had to die and then glibly says bye-bye. Why do you have a murder-supporting far-left extremist teaching 5th graders? Her superintendent is Richard Corbett. Give him a call and an email. 2400. I'll repost it. Sure. Yeah, anybody who was wondering why are students so aggressive in school these days, why they're so defiant, why there's record numbers of crimes occurring in schools. I can't give you the exact date, but at some point on my show, The Swamp, a few weeks back, the FBI released the data and statistics pertaining to school crime that has occurred over the last, I think it was 5 years, and it's in the hundreds of thousands of crimes that have occurred in schools. And they had it all named, or each crime, anywhere from like sexual assault to battery to, like everything in between, theft and what have you. And it was in the hundreds of thousands of instances of crimes that occurred at school. And, so students, they're more aggressive than ever, more defiant than ever. And also, the students' performance levels are at the lowest that they've ever been in America. We're at record low performance levels. There's some cities where their math proficiency is dead zero. They like in terms of adequate or average, essentially a grade letter C. No, there's entire school districts where they have a flat F when it comes to not only math proficiency, but also English proficiency too. So, and the reason it's because, in large part, the radicalization, the radical left, radical feminism, they've encroached into the system, and these radical educators, they've been tolerated by, and a lot of them, they try to hide in plain sight. That's what a lot of them do. Like they just don't show those values until, their lack of values, I should say. They don't show all that until they're comfortably in their own classroom with the door closed and all your children are right there in front of them, and that's when they start spewing the propaganda. And at the same time, when they're outed and exposed, they'll try to hide behind the unions, they'll try to hide behind the district, they'll hide behind the word tenure. Like, you can't fire me, I've got tenure here. Because they have no shame. And shame, it's completely dead with modern feminists. They lack accountability completely. And educators who are radicalized against American values, they need their licenses removed by the state, whichever state that they're educating in, because otherwise they're just going to go from one district to another. And that absolutely should be the case. Because educators, they shouldn't be throwing out their political ideologies, their own opinions, not just politically, but their opinions on anything. stick to the curriculum. That's what you're getting paid for. You're supposed to teach kids what the curriculum is telling you to teach the kids. And I know there would be a pretty strong argument that the curriculum probably has a lot of that extremism rooted in it these days also, largely by the federal Department of Education, which I would absolutely be 100% on board of with them just completely getting rid of. As soon as the federal Department of Education was implemented, that's when, coincidentally, it would seem, or lack thereof, that is when all of our performance scores started just sliding further and further down. And it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse. As soon as they took the right of the states to educate their children away from the states and handed it up to the federal government, that's when things started going to shit. That's why I think the CIA is rooted in a lot more of our culture than that we might really believe. I think it might be almost probably exclusively coming from the CIA, with all these social projects and experiments and God knows what they're doing. And as soon as they're done with whatever project or mission, they torch everything, and now there's no record of it ever existing. I mean, yeah, if you want to point to an institution that's probably been more damaging to America as a whole than anything, I would make an argument that it probably would be the CIA, maybe. But what do I know? I don't know anything. What the hell do I know? At 2:40 p.m. today, would that be Eastern time, Juanita? I'm guessing. I don't know. At 2:40 p.m. today, it'll be 4 days since the death of Charlie Kirk by an assassin's bullet was sadly announced by President Trump. Okay, yeah, maybe it was Eastern, but there has been no rioting or burning of cities. There's only been worldwide prayer vigils. This is the way Charlie would have wanted it. And of course, there's been a lot of calls to action of employers to get rid of these radical people that you have working for you, which is completely justified. I mean, nobody wants to do business with someone who holds views that are completely contrary to American values, just the basic ones. They hate anything and everything that makes America great. And maybe that's why that they've radicalized themselves to that extent. They're like, well, Trump says make America great again, so we should completely take the opposite stance. Make America destroyed. Period. Time to share. Thanks, Deepfake Quote, for exposing them. Now we know we are ready to end them. What are these? If you stop a violent black man, you make national news. If you are a violent black man, you don't. Yep, the memes. It is not a both sides issue. No assassination attempts on Biden or Kamala or AOC or any other prominent voice on the political left. You can name literally any Democrat and nope, nothing. Crickets. No violence from pro-Israeli crowds. No arrests on the pro-Israeli side. No calls for death or murder of those who oppose the pro-Israeli side. Those who oppose gender ideology do not call for the death of those who disagree with them. Nope, they don't. Those who oppose movements like BLM did not call for the death of those who took part in the BLM riots. Nope, they did not. And social media is not flooded with videos from those on the right celebrating the deaths of those on the left or wishing harm upon them. And they're not. And you know what? That actually reminds me when they were talking about some video that I played earlier. They were talking about presidents and assassinations being a part of our history. If you're not aware of this, let me show you this. It blew my mind at first, but it kind of didn't when I let it sink in. Like, oh yeah, okay. So this is the list of U.S. presidents who were assassinated or an attempted assassination and their political parties. So I'm going to put it in bullet points. Of course, there's Abraham Lincoln, Republican; James A. Garfield, Republican; William McKinley, Republican; John F. Kennedy, Democrat; and Andrew Jackson, Democrat; and formerly Republican Theodore Roosevelt, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Democratic; Harry S. Truman, Democratic; Gerald Ford, Republican; Ronald Reagan, Republican; Donald Trump, Republican. All right, so what's the tally? 1, 2, 3. Let's see. I thought Theodore Roosevelt was a Republican when he was president. I think we're gonna have to give that to him. Hold on, let me just double check and make sure. Here, let me do this. Go back to Grok. Yes, he was a Republican while serving as the 26th president of the United States from 1901 to 1909. However, he famously broke with the party in 1912 to run for president on the Progressive Mole Boost party ticket. Okay, so he had a taste of the power and he wanted more of it. Except back then they didn't have term limits. They didn't have term limits until FDR. Till he won his fourth in a row. But yeah, so when he had an attempted assassination against him, he was a Republican at that time. So I probably should change the way that I phrase that. Hold on. And their political party. That should be good enough. List of presidents who were assassinated or faced attempted assassinations along with their political party affiliations at the time. So basically the same thing. So Lincoln, Republican; Garfield, Republican; William McKinley, Republican; JFK, Democratic. Of course, we already got that cleared up. I don't know why Grok is pushing progressive. He was... Well, wait a minute. Did they attempt to assassinate him then? I thought it was while he was president. Hold on. While campaigning as a former president. Oh, okay. So 1912. Okay. All right. So I might have to give it to him then. FDR, Democratic. I didn't know that he had an attempted assassination, but anyway, Harry S. Truman, attempted assassination, Democratic, and then Republican, Republican, Republican. Okay. There was another list that I saw where it was like 6 Republican and like 2 Democrat or something like that. But either way, going by this list, which appears to be more accurate, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Republican, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 Democrat, and I mean, I don't know, man. Like progressive, is that Democrat? It's not Democrat though, right? So you'd almost have to not include Theodore Roosevelt when I'm talking Republican versus Democrat. You'd really would just have to remove Theodore Roosevelt from the equation. But if you were to keep him in, then the only time he was president was when he was a Republican. So you'd have to give it over to the Republican side, which would make it 7 versus, what was it, 3? I think it was 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. All right. So it's not to say that like Democrats haven't ever been attempted or actually assassinated, but because JFK, that's like the obvious one for the Democrats. But what about the ones who were assassinated? Maybe that might have been the list that I saw. Let me just remove that part. One, 2, 3. Okay, so 3. 3 Republican, 1 Democrat. Of which presidents that were assassinated, where it was actually carried out. 3 Republican, 1 Democrat. So 75% Republican, 25% Democrat. Which that wouldn't be the final one I would stand on. I would include the attempted assassinations, obviously. At least I would. All right, moving on. Let me get rid of this. It's no longer Democrat versus Republican. It's control versus freedom. Well, I would argue it's good versus evil at this point. Or in that order, it would be evil versus good. And so RFK, what we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the U.S. is not violence and lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion toward one another and a feeling of justice toward those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black. That is true. A lot of politicians, they say stuff like their words say something, but their actions say something different. Not saying that he's guilty of that at all. I'm just painting a picture of modern politics today, especially with Democrats whispering all those sweet nothings and pointing out lots of problems that we have, which the majority of those problems are almost certainly coming from the Democratic Party anyway. And then they address the problems and then they offer zero solutions. They never offer solutions. And in the rare instance that a Democrat does actually offer a solution to a problem that they're pointing out, it's almost always involving taking money from taxpayers. And more often than not, giving that tax money to people who really shouldn't be entitled to it in the first place. Such as the housing situation. That's what Democrats are talking about now. They want to pass a bill which will allow first-time home buyers to receive $10,000 toward their down payment for the first house they buy. That's the Democrats' big plan to fix the fact that housing has doubled in the last 5 years and young Americans just simply can't afford it. You have to make $100,000 a year to qualify for the average priced house in America today. It's over $100,000 actually. I think it's like $105,000. Not to mention, there's a lot of banks out there you have to put down, what is it, 20%? It's like 20%. A lot of institutions. I could be wrong on that, but I think maybe at least some banks, they require you to put down a pretty sizable down payment before they'll write you a mortgage. So, yeah, I saw that earlier. Yesterday. The City of York Human Relations Commission is now attacking me, Scott Pressler, and recklessly calling me violent, which is false and absurd. It is absurd. On its public page for exposing York County teachers. This is an actual governmental organization. Yeah, like Scott Pressler is one of the most peaceful and nicest guys that have ever lived, without any doubt, man. They just hate him because he's so effective as a Republican. Because he's probably registered like 1 million people to be Republicans at this point since he started his activism. And if you're not familiar, if I got it right, he first gained prominence. Scott Pressler did. He first gained prominence when he went to Baltimore. Here he is, right here. Oh yeah, that's his picture at that's Turning Point, right? Or no, AC. I think it says T. No, maybe not. Never mind. But anyway, that's Scott Pressler, and yeah, he organized a cleanup initiative in the city of Baltimore. They picked an alley somewhere in the city that was completely just filled with trash. It was used as a dump site in a neighborhood where people actually lived. It wasn't an abandoned neighborhood like in Gary, Indiana or something. It was an actual neighborhood where people were actually living there. And he organized a cleanup crew, and they went in there and they cleaned up the entire alley. I think it took them a couple of days to do so, but they hauled all of it away. And of course, it got attention from the news because they were doing a massive cleanup effort, and it got the attention of the locals. And that was his time to say, well, I'm with a Republican organization. I'm not familiar with the name of it. I don't think, right? No, I just know Scott Pressler. But yeah, he got a lot of attention for that. And I guess the rest, as they say, would be history. He's been ascending up ever since. And that's his big mission. His big mission is to register as many individuals with the Republican Party as he can possibly do. And he does that every day of every year. It's not an election season thing with him. He does it all the time. So anyway, heads up, York County, there are teachers being targeted. Targeted. Really? Who are voicing their opinions on their Facebook pages about Charlie Kirk. Oh, is that what they're doing? They're just expressing their free speech. They are being targeted for dismissal by a Scott Pressler. He is a major MAGA, and he is a national agitator and trying to get folks. The fuck does that mean? Folks fired and calling for violence against them. I bet they think that's a real word, by the way. FOLX. He's doxing numerous people, including teacher and faculty in the Southern New York district, for practicing free speech on their own Facebook pages. Please call HRC or PHRC. Look, they can exercise their free speech. However, they shouldn't be saying a word about any of this shit in front of children, which they certainly are. Plus, teachers, they're supposed to be held up as model citizens in their local community, because people who live in this community, people who live in the school district, it is their children who are going to this school. So you should be hiring teachers who have nothing but the highest of all people, the highest of morals and values. That should be held by the educators. And clearly, not only is that teacher not, but the Human Relations Commission, they're not either. They're like, no, they can say Charlie Kirk deserved it because it's free expression. So yeah, well, that'll be interesting to see where that goes. Yeah, he posted that yesterday, and that's got a lot of attention too. So here's his post that they're referring to. Meet Billie Jean Miller. She's a guidance counselor for Susquehannock High School in York County, Pennsylvania. Not all people who kill others are mentally ill. That's a quote. This is the woman counseling your kids. Get on the phones immediately first thing tomorrow. Glen Rock, Pennsylvania. Yep, they absolutely should be doing that. Hey, man, welcome to the world of fighting fire with fire. City of York Human Relations Commission. Because I'm sure that if they have any teachers in their school who might wear, I don't know, a MAGA hat, or who might put a Trump 2024 bumper sticker on their car, I have a feeling they probably wouldn't be employed with this district for probably more than a day after they've showed their support for President Trump, at least Republicans. Anyway, so Rep. Jasmine Crockett, I'm assuming, when I see ICE, I see slave patrols. Disgusting. Yeah, of course it's on MSNBC. Of course it is. This is from Rapid Response 47.
But as somebody who understands history, when I see ICE, I see slave patrols. Now, I never lived through the slave patrol period, but if you know the history of policing in this country, then you understand that they were born out of slave patrols.
What? Policing never existed until they created slave patrols? That, like, the act of policing never existed until then? Not so sure if that makes any sense. I'm telling you, man, these Democrats, they hate American citizens. They only want to support illegal immigrants at this point. That's where they're putting all of their resources toward. You know, God forbid that you're a Democrat voter living in a large city and you need help with something. God forbid you're stuck in a foreign country and you need your representative to help you out, because they ain't going to help you. No, man. You're not a criminal illegal immigrant, so we don't got any time for you. Not today. I might jump over to my For You tab. Most of that stuff, it's older, but it tends to be more popular stuff. I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's got a lot of attention, or got a lot of eyeballs on it. Tyler Robinson's neighbor being interviewed. Oh, okay. Let's see what this is all about. You could tell the media does not want him saying Tyler and Lance Twiggs were a couple, but he said random guys don't hold hands and they definitely don't kiss. That shut them up quick. Oh, this is 3 minutes too.
Were they holding hands?
Full interview.
Yeah, they were. So, yeah, they drove off in his car, the Dodge Challenger.
The time you saw them or this week?
It was about the time I saw them. So
how long ago was that?
I would say about 2 weeks ago.
And did they
Yep, they're a couple.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was dressed all in black.
Yeah, definitely.
And you saw.
Well, look, if that's what he wants, most conservatives would say, you know, that's his American rights. He can date and be with whoever he wants to be. You know, live and let live, as long as it doesn't directly encroach into my daily life. But the media doesn't want, because we've already had a lot of negative press with regards to transgenders with the Minnesota school shooting, or the church school shooting recently. So they're desperately trying to, you know, put away anything having to do with painting transgenders in a negative light. And of course, they've been doing that for years at this point. So yeah, this, as far as they're concerned, they're like, oh my God, this is so extraordinarily bad. Why does it have to be this way?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
Their narrative, it's falling apart.
Just the way he walked and just the way I've seen him. I've never seen really anybody dressed all in black with a mask on, and I thought that was just quite weird.
For those who've never seen the roommate, describe that person for us.
Please do.
So he did have freckles on his face. For the haircut, he did have, it was a weird haircut. It was kind of a mushroom-shaped one.
Yeah? Like Dylan Roof? Is that what it looked like? You remember that asshole? That fucking piece of shit who who shot up that church in South Carolina? That instantly came to mind when he said that. This douchey looking fucking dumbass looking chili bowl cut like from fucking Dumb and Dumber or some shit. Yeah, that dude's a fucking scumbag. His interview with the FBI, they actually made that publicly available. It's on YouTube. It's like an hour and a half long if you want to look at that. If you're into true crime, I don't know, some people are into true crime.
I would say he didn't come out much, but definitely a few other, like just a little bit at a time.
There's some published reports out there that this individual, the roommate, may have been transitioning. Did that correlate with what you saw?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so he was going to have an operation to be to turn into a woman.
Yeah, and I think he's getting ready for that.
Sorry, in what way do you think that?
I remember them talking about a doctor's appointment. It was about...
Well, their original plan was probably maybe to join the military and have the military pay for it, because that's what the Biden administration was working on, to have or sex reassignment surgeries paid for by the U.S. government with your tax money.
About 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And they were kissing?
Yeah.
Do you know, where did you see them kissing?
Just coming out. I was riding with my bike, so I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah. I saw them.
And when did you hear them talking about a doctor's appointment?
I would say about the same time that they came out. So that one time, yeah.
Where were you standing for that?
I was just riding by here.
Okay. So. And you were able to hear snippets of their conversation?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm assuming he's 18.
They were a couple, but you have only seen them together once?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, he's got a lot of courage to be talking to the press, because the left is going to try to come after him in any way they can. Which it sounds like it's a pretty conservative area generally, and that the shooter was just radicalized probably on the campus where he was going to college. That I don't think would surprise anyone, which we're going to get all that information out in due time. That'll come out if not earlier, certainly during the trial. That's when we're going to hear all the information. I just hope that they televise it. Look, well, I'll just say it. In the state of Utah, they do permit live recording, live streaming, whatever, in courtrooms, as long as the judge approves of it, which I would be shocked if the judge doesn't allow the trial to be live streamed. Just depends on the judge. Depends on, I guess, which side they're leaning politically. If they say that they're not going to allow cameras in the courtroom, I think it'd be pretty safe to say that they're aligned with one side and not the other. But if the judge is fair and impartial, as judges should be, that's why they wear black robes, then because of this extremely heated event that happened in our history, it absolutely should be live recorded in the courtroom. Just like Kyle Rittenhouse, that was a big one, and Derek Chauvin, that was also shown for the world to watch. You can watch it on the internet. So it'd be interesting if this trial were to have. Could you imagine if this trial started in October of 2026?
I mean, the way random guys don't hold hands and definitely don't kiss. So I would have tried to stop him if I knew it was him, like before. I definitely do not like the fact that he was living close to me. It was covered with police tape, a ton of police cars. We had a guy sitting up on the hill with a sniper, and SWAT trucks.
Wow.
And definitely a few helicopters.
Oh, that being the hill.
A drone as well.
What was going through your mind?
Oh, wow.
I was like, what is going on? And I asked the police officer, I'm like, did a killing happen here? They're like, I can't tell you. And so I called my grandma, found out
Looks like Mars, man.
The guy that shot Kirk lived right close to me. So for Charlie Kirk, I knew him over the years. Like, I didn't know him personally, but I've watched his videos before. And so
yeah, it's almost impossible to not know who Charlie Kirk is, especially if you spend any time watching anything on social media. When was that? I mean, it was posted yesterday. Yeah, they don't say. This is a harder hitting interview than anything they ever did with Joe. This interview is very, very important, and this is a brave young man forgiven, and that's what I said. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that he was just so willing to talk to him, because I'm sure he's aware of how determined the left can be when it comes to getting on the news and saying something that they don't agree with. Even though they're all about free expression, they're all about free speech, only when it conveniences them. All right, Robbie Starbuck yesterday. You are an evil piece of trash, willfully lying to your dumb followers to make them think the killer was a Republican when he's absolutely a leftist. His friends admit he was radicalized to the far left and that he was the only leftist in his family, and he had a transgender boyfriend, which we just saw was confirmed by his neighbor. It doesn't matter that Kirk's killer was a straight white male or that he was from a Republican family that voted for Trump. Violence has never been the answer. Dude, Eric Swalwell he's a particularly massive scumbag. He's always got low IQ bullshit that he's posting. Let's see. Enough isn't the same for everyone. It's personal, situational, and takes deep reflection to recognize. Not sure if that's related. Again, like, I'm not looking at Charlie Kirk specific stuff. I'm just going through my just regular feed, just illustrating how raw it still is right now. So I'm not sure if this will be related or not.
How much money do you have right now?
Enough.
Enough.
What number with commas in it for you is enough?
So my mother once said to me, never tell anybody how much you make or how much you have.
Yep.
Because there's only two possible reactions. If they more than you and have more than you, like you do, then they don't care. If they have less, they're going to be envious.
Yeah.
So
it's one of the 7 deadly sins, isn't it? I think so. Envy? No, I'm trying to recall back to the movie 7. I think it was. Yeah, he brings up a good point. That's why you never tell people how much money you have, especially because if it's a fairly sizable number, they're going to try to scheme and try to come up with a way that they can have what you have because they don't have what you have. 1 hour ago, chilling discovery, Utah Governor Spencer Cox said the suspect joked with people on Discord who noticed his resemblance to the photos released by authorities during the manhunt. Governor Cox says people online didn't believe him until he admitted that it actually was him. Wow. All right. So that was from Fox News. Labeling things... Elon, labeling things as far right is just propaganda. What we've seen in the media is defining things that used to be centrist to center left, such as sensible immigration policy, as somehow far right, which is absurd and false because really far right should refer to extremely fascist situations. Far right should refer to electing regimes that want to launch wars or genocides or something like that. Yeah. Far right is not supposed to mean a sensible immigration policy. If you took speeches from politicians that were center left and just go take their speeches from 10, 15 years ago, they were literally saying the same thing. So what we've seen is really a drift left, where a lot of governments actually are far left, but they think they are centrist or think they are merely left or centrist, but they're actually far left compared to what the left was 10, 15 years ago. You can take speeches that Obama or Hillary Clinton gave about immigration, and they sound identical to President Trump just as of 10, 15 years ago, not that long ago. So I think what we've seen is a redefinition of what is right and left, but an inaccurate redefinition. And frankly, it's just propaganda because people generally have the association that, well, anything far right must be bad. Then we're going to label things that are common sense far right, which is absurd. So I guess there's no point in playing the videos. It's already quoted all of it. But yeah, man, he's absolutely right. And he's been saying that for a while. He's been preaching that for quite a few years at this point. That, most Americans, they haven't moved on their political leanings unless maybe they've been Democrats and they saw how crazy the Democratic Party. But still, a lot of people haven't really moved much on their core values, whether they're pro-life or abortion or whatever. But see, like those, the more old school folks who believe abortion should be legal, they would not consider themselves pro-abortion. They would say that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. But that is definitely not the conversation today. But yeah, man, most people, their core values haven't moved. It's the left that has just infiltrated the Democratic Party and turned it into this monstrosity. Anyway, I'm going to go to the For You tab and see what's going on over here. 1 hour ago, breaking, NBC is reporting that numerous employees have been fired or placed on leave over comments related to Charlie Kirk. The move has sparked growing concerns about freedom of speech in the workplace, with critics warning that disciplinary actions are creating a chilling effect on open expression. All right, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, it's a ridiculous argument that, well, we can't fire anybody because it falls under free speech. You see how they try to hide behind free speech only when it's convenient for them. But anytime that somebody else says something that they don't agree with, it's suddenly hate speech. So they like to preach about hate speech whenever somebody is disagreeing with them, but whenever the right, which I'm surprised the right isn't using that phrase, hate speech, when they're describing these people saying all this vile stuff about Charlie. Breaking, Ilhan Omar says she's receiving death threats. Well, that's no shocker. Maybe you should close your fucking mouth. And is being harassed nonstop after celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, now demanding 24/7 security from Capitol Police. 3 words: eat shit, bitch. Why don't you hire your own damn security? With your $30 million ass. Because that just came out. She filed her financials back in May of this year, explaining to Congress how much money, or to the IRS, I think it was technically, how much money that she is currently valued as, or at, and it's about $30 million. Which is very interesting, being a member of Congress who only makes $175,000 a year, being worth $30 million. But she says the same thing Nancy Pelosi says. Well, that's not me. That's my husband. My husband makes all that. I'm just some poor innocent woman. I don't know anything about money. Which is funny because this organization that Ilhan Omar's husband started, it was only about a year ago, and they only started the company with like $1,000, and right now they've got over $60 billion worth of assets that they're managing. Now I wonder how that is. Oh no, it's not because that I have political influence. Of course, that's not the reason. Rep. Gloria Johnson, I think what you mean, Megan, is having a great black president made you guys realize you were racist. What? Megan Kelly, we haven't felt like ourselves since Obama. He was such a slick snake. He was so divisive in his messaging. He's the one who started to inject race when no one had been doing it. Yeah, it was definitely the times. Like I mentioned yesterday with Occupy Wall Street, that's pretty much what broke up that movement, was that people started preaching identity politics when they started protesting against Wall Street. Everybody had an equal voice. The right and the left were both there, and that was a major threat to the system. So they had to figure out a way to break that movement apart before it got any more powerful. And then they started throwing the identity politic wrench into that machine. So I don't know. I guess we'll give this a go. I mean, I've been playing everything else so far.
We don't feel like ourselves. We haven't felt like ourselves in a while. And I'm sorry to get political.
Yeah,
but
America's under attack.
We haven't felt like ourselves since Barack Obama.
From within.
I just think he was such a...
Well, what was it like when Trump was elected in 2016? Somebody worded it way better than I'm going to, but that was the time when the American government machine turned all their guns pointing out toward the world as far as like a offense or what have you, and they turned all their resources inward against us. Like, yeah, like the resources of the federal government when it comes to fighting like freedom and American values and like what America stands for and protecting America, all those resources went from being pointed to abroad to turning 180 degrees and pointing it all back toward us. And by us, of course, I mean conservatives. All right, anyway.
Slick Snake. You know, he was this affable guy who was like wearing good suits and looked the part and sounded the part and dressed the part, but was so divisive in his messaging. The left, they look at you like when you say this, they don't know what you're talking about. It's like, because you don't pay attention to the other half of the country. You only pay attention to your absurd news sources, which spin and spin and spin to protect Democrats, especially if they're named Obama. He's the one who started to inject race where no one had been doing it. He's the one
Oh, no, there were people doing it too.
Started to use his pen and the phone to shove things down our throat that we didn't want. He's the one who shoved through an entitlement on our health care and our personal doctor visits that he promised he wouldn't mess with, and then he did, really hurting people, causing massive anger and open lies. He never missed an opportunity to twist the knife on the racial issue. He would do it subtly and in his own way, but it was very clear what he was doing. For the first time, we had a president who weighed in on legal cases before they'd played out. We never did that. That was a taboo that had never been crossed before him. And Donald Trump was the reason Barack Obama, reverse that. Barack Obama was the reason Donald Trump came about, that he was born as a political figure. They say Trump's divisive. He was the antidote. He was the answer to the divisiveness of Barack Obama. And we just haven't felt like ourselves for years now.
Yeah, it was definitely getting more and more heated. It was definitely during Obama when Democrats became a lot more radicalized, for sure. But I don't really know much about Obama specifically day by day to really comment further than that. So I guess I'll just kind of leave that as it is. Rhino Alert, Utah Governor Spencer Cox says Charlie said some very inflammatory things and implies he was a conflict entrepreneur. Why would Governor Cox go on CNN to spew such dishonest propaganda? I mean, he said things that a lot of people took as inflammatory. I mean, Charlie wasn't afraid to speak his mind, and if something obviously was going on that's contrary to what makes our country great, he wouldn't hold back at all. It's the left that would find it to be inflammatory. I don't know. Let's take a listen.
I'm not saying we have to just sing Kumbaya and hold hands. What I'm saying is we actually should disagree. I think Charlie represented that better than anyone. Charlie said some very inflammatory things, and in some corners of the web, that's all people have heard. But he also said...
Well, I wouldn't say that we should disagree. I would have worded it that we can disagree.
Some other things about forgiveness. He said some amazing things about when things get dark, putting down our phones, reading scripture, going to church, talking to our neighbors. He said that we have to engage, and that's what I appreciate most about Charlie Kirk. Said if we don't keep talking, that's when the violence starts. Look, there are conflict entrepreneurs out there who benefit from radicalizing us, and I'm not one of those. I don't know that that's particularly helpful, but he is right at this. We need to find out how this happened, and we need to stop it from happening.
All right. I mean, I don't know if he exactly said that Charlie was a conflict entrepreneur, although it was within the discussion. Anyway, Governor J.B. Pritzker, 3 hours. I've signed an executive order to protect vaccine access during the fall respiratory virus season. Look, Secretary Kennedy is not getting rid of vaccine access. He already made that clear during his whatever that oversight hearing was that he was put into. And yeah, he was very clear that anybody who wants any kind of vaccine that's out there, they can have access to those vaccines. We're not removing access from it. We're just saying that we're working to remove the forced vaccines that make it mandatory that your child has to get vaccinated no matter what, or else there's no place for your child in the public education system. That's what he was talking about. When the federal government abandons its responsibility, Illinois will step up. We follow the science, listen to medical expert, and do what we can so families can receive care. Well, a lot of the medical experts have been radicalized too. But in the great state of Florida that I live in, they got rid of that just about a week ago. Mandatory vaccines, that is. You can still get, how many are there? 72? Is it 72 vaccines that children are mandated to receive? Well, not in the state of Florida anymore. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with it anyway. If you don't, like, if you don't get vaccinated, it's not the community around you that's at risk. It's just, you're just putting yourself at risk. But it's your body, your choice at the end of the day, as the left would say. My body, my choice. This is a terrible look for TMZ. So this was yesterday. Patrick Bet David. I've seen his show quite a few times. Hey, Harvey Levin, TMZ. All you have to do is be honest with your audience. For a place that has a camera everywhere, why don't you release the footage of the staff that laughed at the car chase? Yeah, I've shown that before a few days ago. I'm trying to think when that was. It must have been on Thursday, but I showed that on my episode on Thursday. The car chase that was in question, which is on YouTube. I can find it again. Wonder if I should go into my history and try to find it there. I don't know, man. I watch a lot of YouTube. It'd probably take a while to find it. No, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to live police chases. I'm going to go to their channel. It should be on here. Matter of fact, the full chase should be on here because according to the media, the chase was happening a half an hour before they released the footage. So let's go to live. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. It's a white SUV. No, it's not in Chicago. Those are all at night, it looks like. No, that's not going to be it either. Oh, 3 weeks ago. Damn, dude. All right. Well, maybe it's not going to be on here. That's in Chicago. Yeah. Okay. No, I don't think it's that one either. It was streamed. All right. All right. Well, maybe this channel is of no help. I think, what day would that have been? It was going to be on... Oh, yeah, that obviously the 10th. Okay, so... 3 months ago. You know what? Let me refine it. Exposition Park, that's not going to be it. Norwalk area, that wasn't it. Okay, all right. Time for plan B. Go to my profile and find it there. September 12th. Oh, yeah, there's that. That's a meme that I mentioned. I want to say it was yesterday. So 2008, center, left, and right. And that's, you know, I would say young Americans, but I think Elon Musk shared this initially. And 2012, my fellow liberal running off to the left while you're inching closer to the center. 2021, now you're right of center, even though you haven't moved because it's the left who's just pulling everything further left. And then 2025 appears to be far right, even though you're not. Woke progressive with a rifle yelling bigot from the extreme far left. All right, anyway. All right, police chase. Okay, so I'm pretty close here. So September 11th. Getting there, getting there. All right, so it is right around here. Oh, here it is. Found it. There's the link. It was around here somewhere. So this is the police chase in question.
Out of that second vehicle,
Westlake, that's what it's called, Westlake area.
CHP in that intersection. So this has become a very odd and dangerous
right
chase by the actions of this driver.
No doubt about it, and that really was unusual.
I believe it's this one right here in the center.
the person come out
he
of
ends
their
up breaking
car
from
and go to
traffic
the
and
CHP's
starts driving. Yeah, there he
window,
goes. He starts driving
which
crazy.
Is very dangerous. I mean, I don't understand why you would take.
Well, and they had something in their
I'm
hands.
just going to play it out.
Like
I'm not going to skip it.
Spray
I'm just going to play it out.
Something.
It's only a couple of minutes.
What it was. But again, this person is leading police on a pursuit well over a half hour now. We're trying to figure out
that they've been leading the pursuit for about a half an hour at this point. It's 1:55 p.m. local time. That would be in LA, so it would have been 2:55 p.m. Mountain Time, which I'm assuming that's the time zone in Utah. So this would have been around 2:55, which pretty close to when he was shot. Let me find that out. What time? Oh my God, dude. Google is so freaking ridiculous. Have to go the long way again. Around 12:20 p.m. Mountain Time. So that would have been, so 11:20 a.m. But yeah, but this was the only police chase that was on the news's radar for the entire day. And I remember looking for other ones on ABC. So ABC 7, they're pretty much the bee's knees when it comes to police chases in LA. There is another one, another news outlet. But this is the chase. Look at the comments here. Let me zoom in on that. Uh-oh, where'd they go? Oh, here they are. Dear TMZ, at what timestamp are you cheering? Why was TMZ cheering? At what point is there a reason? At what point in this dull, drab coverage was there an event that caused multiple people to do that tabloid journalism for a living to erupt into applause and joyous shouting? Please attempt to explain. Yeah, woohoo, TMZ. I'm here because of TMZ. So this was their cover story for covering up their cheering or hearing on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, this was like the only one for anywhere near the time frame when Charlie died. So it looks like the timeline's up to where the police chase happened following Charlie Kirk getting shot. However, they didn't release the news that Charlie Kirk had been shot until later. As a matter of fact, during the TMZ, when they were live, they said, we just got confirmation from President Trump that Charlie Kirk is dead. And that was the exact same time when those people were cheering. Announce. Around 1:30 p.m. Eastern, President Trump announced Charlie Kirk's death via Truth Social. So around 1:30 p.m. on September 10th. And let's see, 1:30 p.m. I don't know if that would be local time. Oh, wait, where am I? Oh, yeah, here we go. But anyway, Westlake area, or hold on, let's see. How long before the start of the video did the chase begin? 1:54. Trump reported Kirk's passing at 1:40 p.m. TMZ was live reporting Kirk's passing through Trump's post on Truth Social, who was covering the chase before ABC 7 started this coverage. 14-minute gap. Red car. So, I mean, anyway, I think it's pretty obvious that this was the chase. And I remember when TMZ, it was through James Woods. He was the first person that mentioned it that I saw with TMZ, their reaction to this quote unquote, this police chase, not Charlie Kirk's death. No, they weren't celebrating that. All right, anyway,
why was this person in it? And you're going to see this.
It's only like a minute from now where they duck underneath a bridge.
Like this,
and
you see the driver heading into a parking lot or a gas station.
The red car was right there in the screen again.
Oh, really? So this red car continues to kind of follow along right there.
There it is. That's the car that was, that car was following CHP, which was following the T1, and they were just going around and around a circle, and they continue to go in this.
Now keep a celebratory moment in mind when you watch this. When you're watching this, look for any point that would be cause for celebration, that you would stand up and go, woo, yeah, awesome, yay, way to go.
same general area of South LA, although they are now down to 88th Street. Earlier, they were up near, 55th, 56th. So they've moved down to Manchester in that area. But we don't know if they necessarily know anybody. We just know that they've gotten off the freeway.
Yeah, and they keep doing kind of U-turns, or they're just kind of
the LAPD, they suck so bad at these police chases. They're the worst,
kind of
man.
Going into this sort of the grid of
Just
this
let you do whatever the hell you want, apparently.
Into oncoming traffic now.
Oncoming traffic now. Now that is very dangerous. And I know we are getting close to the 2 o'clock hour. Several kids do, the elementary kids get out of school, and this is
and
one
that's
of those
even more fucked up.
Let's see.
It's time when school's going to get out soon. And they're just letting them just drive around like maniacs.
Collision yet, but we weren't on it the whole time during the special report.
Well, we do know there's damage to the vehicle. We don't know if that vehicle damage is caused, it was already there, but if you've noticed on one of the, I think it was the passenger side, that it did seem that there were some crash marks as if it hit something. But now here you go again, stopping right there, if that's the vehicle that we're looking
under the bridge.
Nope, in the front, Air 7, I think to the right.
On the front.
Yeah, tilt right, go right. Is that not it there?
Nope.
I was thinking it was at the intersection.
He's thinking it's that car, but I don't think it is.
The very first white vehicle that is about to go forward now, but maybe not. Okay, so we're hearing from our director that a red vehicle got on the highway, so maybe Air 7 to the right, if you could. There goes a red vehicle, but I'm not sure if that was them. They went under the overpass and we lost them.
Yeah, so they're talking about that red vehicle that they zoomed in on a minute ago, and they believe that the red vehicle went underneath this bridge and stopped and communicated to the white car, like, we're under the bridge waiting, and then he just flew underneath the bridge and then stopped, and they jumped in the red car and took off. And we don't see anything else. Like, this continues for like another 7 minutes, and there's nothing else. They disappear under a bridge, and they're gone.
Exactly.
So where's the celebration?
Pursuit now.
Where's the cheers and clapping? Where's the purpose for that?
It does sound as if maybe they got onto the freeway. Don't know if they were going north or south. As I look at, it was possibly northbound. Is that?
So yeah, they got away, and is that why TMZ was cheering? Are they cheering for criminals escaping from police custody? Is that the reason for the celebration? So in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me show this. So this is from James Woods.
Janet, go.
You hear the cheering?
Go to Janet. Go to have somebody look at the Fox. Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
All right, so is this ready to pull the trigger? We can get Trump cut in a second.
And there you have it. So that happened, and then they reacted to, or they had to release this statement saying that, that had nothing to do, them celebrating had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. Had nothing to do with that, and here's the video for that.
We were live streaming all day during this tragedy when something happened in our office. As we were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase. And they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is,
he is so clearly trying to frame this shit. He knows he's full of shit. We know he's full of shit. They're completely full of fucking shit. Completely full of shit. That's why he's being so careful with like how, okay, so we're going to tell him it was a police chase that they were celebrating. So we have to be really careful. Dude, if that were the case, he would have just blurted it out. Like, dude, they were celebrating the police chase. And then the whole world would go and try to find that police chase. And then they would expect to see maybe the suspect smash into like a telephone pole, and then the cops swarm around them with guns pointed at them, and one of them gets tackled to the ground by the cops, throw on the handcuffs, and yay, woohoo, they got him. That didn't happen, though. Didn't even come close to happening.
That I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not.
Why aren't they in front of the cameras explaining themselves then?
Would not work here if they did.
And that being said,
we acknowledge that it was horrible timing. And for that, we are sorry.
All right, whatever. I mean, they just go on for the next 30 seconds. Like, no, it was tone deaf. That's all it was. It was just tone deaf laughter. I read a post from somebody here on X. I believe I commented on it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. I probably won't be able to find it. It was just like some passing remark. But the person who left a post saying that they used to work for TMZ. They worked for him for like 3 or 4 years. And they're like, I can assure you everybody in there was very far left. And it was a toxic work environment. It was extremely annoying working there because everybody there was just, politically ridiculous. And he's like, that without any question, that's what they were celebrating. He's like, I have no doubt in my mind. So, all right. Anyway, so that's that. All right, so I'm just going to move on from there. Oh, wait, hold on. Here, hold on. Terrible look. Okay, all right. I forgot. Well, it is 11 minutes, but I'll play just like a couple minutes of it. This is in reference to the TMZ thing.
TMZ comes out, and everybody around the world finds out when the phone alert, Charlie Kirk is dead, right? Your phone is blown up. No matter where you are, your phone is blown up with text messages saying Charlie Kirk is dead. This is Harvey, who runs TMZ. It's a place known, I've been inside that place. It's a place that's known for having cameras everywhere. That's what you're known for. You're talking live all the time, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's what TMZ is known for. You have cameras everywhere. That's your business model. That's how.
Yep, they won't. They'll go down in flames. They will face bankruptcy before they show that footage.
You blew up.
I was with you in every corner of every room. They capture every reaction.
You remember that?
Sure they do.
There's cameras
TMZ.
everywhere.
Yep.
So perfect. If you're telling me there's cameras everywhere, and then this is how they react, employees of TMZ, when the announcement is made that Charlie Kirk has died, and then listen to his explanation afterwards. Go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, and they should have come right out with it and said, yes, that's what they were doing. We've let them go. There were just 2 employees. We fired them, and they would have looked perfectly fine. And they would have maintained whatever audience that they have, and all would have been more or less okay. But they're not interested in that. They're interested in appeasing the left. That's what they're interested in. They want to keep their cultist ideologues. And
that's the announcement.
Yeah, here we
exact go. Second it was.
Yeah, they want to keep the leftists happy.
We're live streaming.
Oh, Rob, I don't want
you
to show that. Yeah. I actually want you to show the whole thing. Okay. There's another clip that I have that I posted in the notes, Rob. I don't know if you see that one or not.
Is this the one, Pat?
The one from Instagram. Play that one because I want people to see 10 seconds prior to that to see how it goes. Watch this.
Probably the one that I showed already.
We're going to see
they don't know yet.
an image of this guy.
There's just live streaming.
Possibly in the next
Watch
20
this.
minutes. The news conference is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern.
You can already hear them celebrating in the background. I don't know if maybe I should go back a minute. I wasn't paying attention to my sound. Let me just go back just a little bit. All right, hold on. Yeah, like right about here.
Possibly in the next
Watch
20
this.
minutes. The news conference is scheduled for 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2.
You can hear them back there celebrating already.
2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern. Janet, go.
The announcement is made.
Go.
They realize how embarrassing this is. His partner's going to the back to tell everybody to be quiet.
The Fox.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even make an attempt to talk over their laughter, like consistently. Like he's saying whatever he's saying, but then he pauses while the laughter just continues to erupt. You think that he would have been just constantly saying something to try to get his voice, the audio of his voice to overcome the laughter in the background.
But go back.
Look, Trump just posted that Charlie Kirk is dead.
And the fucking gaslighting. This was prior to and not related to Charlie Kirk's death. Don't believe your lying ears. That wasn't Charlie Kirk. That was a police chase.
Yeah, you're right, Pat. He went to the back. He went to shut the hell up.
Yeah. So now watch.
Now,
what did Trump say?
I bet he sprinted back there and he's like, shut the fuck up. We're live, you fucking retards. And they still didn't fire him, I'm sure.
Okay, forget about this, Rob. Wow. Now go to, so the
Put their whole company in jeopardy.
So then what do? they go on ChatGPT. Can you tell me exactly at this time that there was another crisis that took place in California for us to say that we were reacting to?
Oh.
They make the argument that they're reacting to. Not you, Rob. I'm saying that's what they did. So they make the argument later on. Do you have the video of them saying what they were reacting to?
Yeah, him and the producer guy.
Yeah, and so this is when they're looking at it. Watch this here, folks.
We're live streaming all day during this tragedy.
Right.
When something happened in our office,
so they had been live streaming the event with Charlie Kirk for a period of time before we even started seeing this footage. So they were probably just constantly talking about the shooting and the authorities are on scene and Charlie was rushed to the hospital. So they've probably been at it for like, what, half hour, maybe an hour at this point. And so it's probably nothing but Charlie Kirk. That's all that's on their minds at this moment. And that's all they're talking about constantly. I didn't see it for myself. I'm just assuming that to be true. And then they erupt in laughter. It's like, okay, well, if everything is full stop, we're covering Charlie Kirk, why the hell is somebody in the very next room just sitting in an office with a big screen watching some police chase? And even still, I've already shown the police chase. There's nothing there worth celebrating at all.
We were reporting the assassination of Charlie Kirk. There were some people in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase. And they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people. And
I'm sure you know them too well. I'm sure you've probably had experiences with them behind closed doors in a sensual kind of setting, in a situation where you can't fire them because they probably have certain goods on you. That wouldn't surprise me. Apparently, that's quite common in Hollywood. I don't know. I haven't worked in Hollywood. It's just an opinion of mine, but that wouldn't surprise me at all if he's like, well, I can't fire her because she's got certain things that we've done and I can't, you know.
We're not laughing.
Yeah.
They were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Yeah.
They were not.
Okay.
They would not work
Gaslighting,
here
man.
if they did.
Scumbags.
And that being said, we acknowledge that it was horrible timing. And for that, we are sorry.
We apologize. We apologize.
think
We
we're
get
that
glad
retarded.
to hear that.
And I get why if you're watching.
I mean, they really think that we're not going to actually go and say, wow, man, that must have been one hell of a fucking car chase, dude. That car chase must have been just like top tier Hollywood drama, something that's straight out of a blockbuster silver screen in the middle of the summertime.
In the stream, you may have felt that that's what the laughter was about. We assure you, it was
When
not
the laughter
about
was cheering,
that,
dude.
But it was horrible timing.
Okay.
And by the way, I get it too.
Do you believe them?
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So they're saying a car chase.
Okay.
This is the car chase. Let's just show you.
Thank you.
And
I was
tell me
hoping
if you
you'd show
believe them.
this.
Go ahead,
It
Rob.
has to be the same car
Tell
chase.
me if this is the kind of a car chase that you would celebrate and scream. Tell me if it's that euphoric. Go ahead, Rob.
We're showing you right there on the
And
banner below.
there it
You can
is.
see it started in Temple City.
Yours truly was
And we
correct.
saw that. Go ahead,
25
Philip.
miles an
Well,
hour.
I wanted to let you know that President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is
I'm
the
waiting for the
breaking
excitement.
news that
So
we are
that's the
likely
moment.
about to have with ABC News. He was shot in Utah at a college there. We've been talking about that throughout the afternoon here.
Pause,
You
Rob. Okay, so he's not lying. They are watching a car chase. And they are reacting to a car chase because the announcer on the car chase said that Charlie Kirk is dead. Thank you.
Exactly. And Patrick, he could keep playing it just like I showed of where that police chase ultimately ends up underneath the bridge. There is no point because the TMZ could argue, well, we were a couple of minutes behind because of tape delaying and yada yada yada. But no, that ain't
Harvey
the case.
is essentially in his mind. Well, we're not lying. Go back 20 seconds again, Rob, and watch what happens. Go back a little bit more. Go. Right there. Watch what the announcer says. Here's the car chase that they're talking about. Temple City. Go ahead.
That President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that's
what they're reacting
breaking news
to.
that we are likely
That is
not
what
the
they're
car
reacting to.
chase.
have with ABC News.
Exactly.
So-
And see, that's the scumbaggery that TMZ is. That's what they're doing because, yeah, they were watching a car chase, but it wasn't the event of the car chase that they were celebrating. They were celebrating the fact that President Trump just confirmed that Charlie Kirk is dead. That's why they were celebrating.
He was shot in
So they're watching the car chase.
So, yeah.
The announcer announces Charlie
during the car
Kirk's dead.
chase.
And it seems like in all likelihood, that's when they cheer.
You tell me
there's
Obviously, there's
nothing
nothing
exciting.
else
while
going
that
on there.
second the car
This
chase.
isn't O.J. Simpson and the White Bronco.
Exactly.
Pat, that I'm sorry. That the first of all, disgusting of who they are. What TMZ like somebody, an ex-employee claims. These are claims all over that I saw on X that the newsroom was filled with hateful, angry, progressive energy, and he said it would, without question, laugh at Charlie Kirk getting shot. Shame on
That is the exact post that I read too. That is the exact post that I read myself.
them. Shame on them for lying.
Yeah, he
Shame,
said he worked for them
have
for
the
like 3 years or
balls
something.
To just tell the truth. You know what, guys? We're freaking leftists. We're progressive. You know what? Charlie is a voice that says stuff that we don't like.
Yeah,
we are
just come out
happy
with the TMZ.
that he was shot in the freaking neck in front of his family.
I don't know. I don't know if it's.
They're so cowardly, man. They're so cowardly. They organize in numbers to get loud and get angry and cause violence and damage. But when it comes down to the small scale of like just the individual level, they run, they hide. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this.
No, I'm saying what this guy's saying. It's filled with hateful, angry progressives.
And I believe that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That I believe.
Of course it is, I'm sure.
I believe that exists.
Yes.
That
TMZ,
those
they're
types
right in the middle of the
people are
lion's
there.
den,
Here's the
man.
question I want to ask all of you guys. Do you believe Harvey's happy that Charlie Kirk is dead? I don't believe so.
I don't think that that's
I mean, maybe
Do you
not.
believe
I
the guy
don't think
to
he
the
probably
right believe
he probably doesn't feel any way about it. He probably doesn't care. He's like, I don't give a shit. I doubt he cares.
he's happy Charlie Kirk is dead.
I don't
believe
know
that.
if he's happy.
I think the guy on the right is actually fairly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably both on the left, but I don't think they're happy Charlie Kirk is dead. The question I want to ask you is the following. Here's the question I want to ask you.
I don't think they care.
You said the price of freedom of speech is freedom of speech.
That's right.
Okay, fair. We're not happy by the way those employees reacted. They're celebrating. These guys are not telling the truth. Harvey, respectfully, you're not telling the truth. You're telling the truth that they reacted to a car chase. Yes, but they reacted to what the announcer on the car chase said, not the actual car chase.
Yeah.
There was nothing exciting happening at the same exact second, the same exact minute to have that kind of a euphoric reaction.
All right. Well, like I said, nothing exciting happened in the minutes following either, all the way to the conclusion of the chase, where the guys got away. They hid under a bridge and they got away. Nothing really worth celebrating. That was interesting. I didn't catch that part of the police chase where he came on and said that Trump made that announcement. So yeah, that is unequivocally what caused them to burst out in celebration. All right. Anyway, met my buddy's girlfriend for the first time last night. She absolutely sucks. Mega lib, annoying and loud as hell. Because I'm brutally honest, I told him I didn't like her. Now he's pissed at me. Oh, dude, what about bros before hoes, man? Do I actually need to apologize or no? Hell no. Hell no, dude. You know your friend a lot better than she does. Actually, his friend might, depending on how long they've been friends, he probably knows his friend more than he knows himself. That's hilarious. Yeah, that dude, like, yeah, if you've got a best friend, if you're a guy and you have a best friend and he's telling you that there's something about her, man, like, you might want a hard pass on that one. You might want to listen to your buddy. Because I'll bet you, like, 99% of those cases, you're going to have to, it might be years from now, but you will be put into a position where you're going to have to say you were right. And at what cost? Now that your house is gone, your financial life is in ruins. All right. Yeah, I mean, hopefully he took his friend's advice. Doesn't sound like he did, though. It's being reported that this demon who danced on Charlie Kirk's grave has been expelled from Texas Tech. She said, F y'all, your homie dead. They're finding out. What college student at Texas Tech mocks Charlie Kirk's death? So they've been expelled. Let's hope that's true.
Homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. Fuck your homie dead. He got shot in the head. Fuck your homie dead.
God, it's so ratchet.
Evil is real, people, and it kind of
is
looks
real.
like that. Evil. Evil. Murder is bad. She is evil.
Yeah, does she sound like a high intellectual? Does she sound like a high IQ individual who is going to change the course of humanity in all the right ways or in any right ways at all? No. I highly doubt it. I'd be curious to know what she's going there for. Underwater basket weaving? Something along those lines. Breaking comedian Charleston White says he does not give an F about any white boys getting killed, especially Charlie Kirk. I don't give an F about Kirk's death. I don't care about no white boy's death. I hope he loses his entire fan base. Yeah. 3 minutes ain't going to give him the time of day. I already know what he's going to say. Democrat Rep Jasmine Crockett. I think we already saw that. All right. So Rep Anna Paulina Luna, I've reported her to the FBI. She's calling for assassinations of elected officials in addition to the entire Kirk family. What? Conservatives are demanding the FBI investigate this person who's calling for the assassination of Charlie Kirk's widow and children. Don't let it stop with him. Get rid of the whole family, his wife and kids too. Wow. Oh yeah, she's gonna get a lot more than just investigated.
So I keep on seeing like posts about this Charlie dude, whatever, Kirk dude, whatever. Regardless. And let me just say this. I'm surprised that y'all didn't get rid of him sooner. And I'm surprised that you guys aren't getting rid of more people. Like...
Brain dead. Fucking brain dead. 0 IQ. Negative IQ. Just brain dead. She doesn't know the slightest thing that what she's talking about. She doesn't even know. She already admitted in the first 10 seconds. I don't even know who this dude is. But I'm going to say a bunch of vile, evil shit because I'm a member of a cult and I have to obey them no matter what. All right. And let's see. Leftists who were fired for celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk are now resorting to begging for money and donations online through sites like GoFundMe and Gives and Go. Of course they are. Of course they are. I would expect nothing less out of them. Which is hilarious. And look what they say. Fired from my job after a Nazi's death. And $1,000 goal? What the hell? What the hell kind of bills are you going to pay with $1,000 these days? And that's not even going to cover your rent. Not even if you live in a freaking studio these days. I'm one of many transgender women hit by the far-right doxing and firing squads after sharing my correct and honest reaction. So they're just doubling down. It's crazy. So not only are they doubling down, but now they're being exposed by being on GoFundMe. But, you know, GoFundMe, they tend to lean a lot further left than they do anywhere else. So will this be taken down? Probably not. It probably won't. Gives and Go will, though. I think Gives and Go, I think they're middle of the road as far as I know. Good grief. The hatred, man. Buttigieg, we are not getting the leadership we need to bring this country together from the White House. In order to deprive political violence of its power, we have to reject anyone who would try to exploit political violence. Dude, that's the left. The left fully exploits political violence. They are the political violence. Responses cannot be for the government to crack down. Okay, then what? Like kumbaya, forget about it. You know, just like when George Floyd was killed, we just said kumbaya, mourned his death, and then picked up the pieces and moved on. No, that's not what happened at all. After 2 years sleeping on the couch and working dead-end jobs, I did it. New apartment, new state, new career. Oh, good for you. Application approved, lease signed. So proud of myself. That's cool. Holy shit. 158,000 likes, man. I don't know who Zay is. Yeah, I don't follow him. I don't know why that's in my For Me feed, though. Are they recommending... Yeah, they must be recommending content from those you don't follow in your For You section. I didn't know that. Wow, man, he's only got 9,000 followers and he got that much support for that. That's awesome. Way to go, man. Especially if he's younger, if he's a young adult. I remember when I first got my first place. It was a good feeling. It was a great feeling. Army Colonel Scott Stevens has been suspended following vile comments mocking Charlie's assassination. It just goes on and on and on. It's just one after the next, which, of course, is to be fully expected. Breaking, President Trump's Let's see. This was on the 12th. Term limits proposal restricts House members to 6 years and senators to 12 years, potentially replacing 73% of the 115th Congress, 318 House representatives, and 46 senators to advance his Drain the Swamp initiative. Do you support this? Yeah, I do. I do. I think she follows me, actually. Yeah, she does. That's pretty cool. Milo Joy. Yeah, I would absolutely support that. And given the direction things are going, not sure if we'd go as far as to get a supermajority. And I'm speaking about Republicans, of course, next year during the midterms. But if they get a commanding majority, especially in the Senate, not sure how that will end up shaking out. Not sure. But if that happens, that could be an actual reality. We could actually see that happening next year. I don't see that happening now. I mean, I'm sure the bill would get introduced, but I would be pretty surprised if it really goes anywhere. No, 100% should. I think pretty much anybody who's got any, rationality and common sense, they would fully support that. Term limits in Congress. Left is the party of murder. And of course, the Hill is going to try to trash Elon Musk in any way they can. All right, what time is it? It's 5 o'clock. Ball State is aware of their employees celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, but they haven't even suspended them, let alone fired them. They're trying to sweep this under the rug. Ball State, this is not going away. Maybe they should lose their federal funding. Yeah, I think they should. Because they're going to throw something out like free speech. And as I've said over and over again, when it's something that doesn't convenience them, they lob out hate speech. Free speech isn't, or hate speech is not free speech. I think that was one of those slogans that they've used in recent years. Let's see. The administration of Ball State University is aware of social media posts by 2 university employees. Both posts were on the employees' personal accounts, and the posts do not reflect the culture of our campus nor the enduring values of the university. Administration is gathering additional information about the posts in order to determine what discipline, if any. They're just going to hope that it goes away, that it just kind of gets like dissolved into the noise of everybody else under scrutiny. That's probably what they're going to do. They're just going to try to sit on it and just hope that it just kind of goes away and then that'll be that. Is appropriate and permissible under the First Amendment to the Constitution. Yep, anytime they say that, they're not getting fired. They're not. They're absolutely not. Which is crazy. But I guess if they don't, I guess the best thing that we can do is to do the best we can to boycott that university. Don't let anybody, or, try to convince anybody who's heading off to college to not go there. Which is probably going to be the majority of all colleges out there anyway. A friend of mine's being terrorized by the far right over an Instagram post. That's a shame. Okay. Having their life destroyed by a political extremist group. She made a single post to her 300-follower Instagram account about gun control with a photo of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, there's a lot that you're leaving out of that. Did they really just say gun control and a picture of Charlie Kirk, or are you omitting certain details? That was enough for them to publicly post her name and work info on a large Twitter account. Yeah, I'm sure. See, that's a dead giveaway right there. They're still calling it Twitter. That's how you know they're on the left. She told me this morning that she lost her job. She is a single mother of 2. Oh, no, single mother. Well, go back to your husband then. Go back to the man you made children with. Then you can have an easier time dealing with some other major life issues. Oh, so in other words, this is probably the first time in her adult life that she's actually facing real accountability. Real responsibility. Now she has to worry about finding a new job, paying her bills, while getting the most disgusting death and rape that's imaginable. Yeah, okay. Well, sorry, but not that sorry. When I see ICE, oh yeah, we already saw that. Yeah, I'm sure that's a very long list. Or, well, if it were completed of all the churches across America, it'd probably be over 1,000. Oxford Union's new president calls the right cancers that must be taken out by any necessary means. He celebrated Charlie's execution. I think I saw this yesterday. I'm not going to play it again. Dude's viral. Or vile. V-I-L-E. Be still. Oh, yeah, that's Chris Pratt. I know Chris Pratt.
Hey, guys, just stop
Chris
real
Pratt
quick
very well.
and pray with me.
Matter of fact, I got his autograph for my daughter for Christmas 3, maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, I did.
Me.
She loves Chris Pratt because she's crazy for dinosaurs. So
Lord, you say, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Be still and know that I am God. In this moment, please, Lord, calm my restless mind. Quiet my anxious heart. Help me set aside distractions and choose what gives life and gives peace. Isaiah 26:3, you keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on you. Lord, fill me with strength to turn my attention toward you, that I find rest and joy in your presence. Amen. Okay, now you can continue strolling, or you can turn your phone off and go outside. Might I suggest the latter? Go get some sunshine, go look at a tree, touch some grass, call a friend. If you've got time to be on your phone right now, you've got time to do your to-do list, and you've got time to reach out to somebody in need and share this prayer with them. Amen.
yeah, with that said, I think that's definitive. I should go to the beach. I really should. I should wrap this up and then just go to the beach. I just want to go out there and go swimming for like half an hour, then come back home. Because I'm fortunate and lucky enough to do so. Because I moved here all by myself. I moved 1,000 miles away from where I went to grade school or middle school, high school, and got married at 19. And then I turned 21, and a month later I was moving here with not very much money, no job prospects. It was actually crazy in hindsight. I cannot believe I did that. I would not recommend doing that because I only had like a month's worth of bills saved up, like a single month. If I didn't find a job for like within 3 or 4 weeks, I would have been screwed. But yeah, got very, very lucky. Anyway, yeah, when you're younger, you're a lot more willing to take risks like that. All right. Anyway, yeah, I think I probably should wrap this up. GOP Senator James Lankford says he disagrees that the Democratic Party is a domestic extremist organization. I'm a conservative Republican. We have a celebration of differences in America. Let's keep talking about things. All right.
Well, they have a very different view than I do. I'm a conservative Republican. I have Democratic friends that think very differently, vote very differently, but they're still my friend on it. So just having that ideology, just believing differently than some other American is not illegal. That's America. We don't all agree as next door neighbors on different things, but it is very different to try to plan, strategize to be able to carry out an act of violence on it.
Absolutely.
That is different. So we do have a celebration of differences in America. Quite frankly, Charlie Kirk literally has on his banners when he speaks on college campuses, prove me wrong, and would say, if you disagree with me, I'm going to seat you closer to the front so we can actually have dialogue. The goal of it is to be able to talk about things. As Charlie Kirk said often, when the words stop, the violence starts. That's when people say, no more words, I'm going to now attack you. Let's keep talking about things and keep working through this.
That is the message that the left has been crystal clear with. They don't want to talk anymore. They just want violence. They've been doing that for years. The summer of love of 2020. President, oh yeah, the term limits. Breaking, LA Mayor Karen Bass refuses to lower flags for Charlie Kirk. Oh, of course she does. This isn't just politics. It is a chilling display of cold indifference, a world without compassion, a heart hardened against decency. Where is the love? Where is the humanity? Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Full staff. Yeah, so they came out with a notice saying, essentially, fuck that. We're going to keep it at full staff. Flags shall remain raised to full staff each day and should not be lowered to half staff unless directed by the mayor. Wow. Evil. So she gave them an order that if you're going to lower your flag half staff in memory of Charlie Kirk, then there will be consequences. That's how that read. At least to me it is. Yeah, that's the official notice. And that was posted by LAFD intranet. Yep, sickening. All right, saw that. Meet the press. What happens next is up to all of us, leaders and ordinary citizens alike. In responding to this horrific violence, the most important categories aren't left and right. They're about helping versus hurting. We should heed and amplify the voices who are helping. Yeah, that'd be nice if all Democrats truly believe that, but he doesn't even believe that. Not at all. You're in lockstep with all the rest. 3 hours. Wow. Officials are warning that political violence in the United States has surged to its highest level in more than half a century. Not seen since the 70s. In a deeply divided nation of politically motivated attacks and attempted assaults on political figures are rising at an alarming pace. Yep. Not from the right, from the left. Because they can't give any instances. Like I said, like they've got January 6th that they point to all the time. But what are the individual targeted instances coming from conservatives and people who are on the right against their opposition? Because we can tally up quite a lot from the left, including them burning down their own neighborhoods. All right, there was that. Like I'm going around in a big circle. Yeah, Lib's a TikTok one. Was that 6 hours ago? Doge News. All right. Oh, that's hilarious. Stephen King just left his mom's basement for the first time in 4 years. From Tim Pool, leftists have flooded the zone with fake images and fake news about Charlie Kirk's killer being right-wing. There's nothing I can do to convince any of these people that these are fake. Well, of course not. No, if they see something that they want to be true, they just assume it to be true. They want to believe the right is evil and facts don't matter. The road leads to one place. Yeah, he's talking about that image that was leaked, or not leaked, the image that was posted by the official anonymous account. Remember Anonymous from like back in the early 2010s? Yeah, like whoever's running that account, they posted a picture of the Charlie Kirk shooter wearing a MAGA shirt, which has been completely photoshopped. It's fake. Oh, wow. This person was sad that the name of Charlie Kirk was not mentioned a single time. Other tragedies were mentioned, but this particular Catholic church, nothing about Charlie. What were they afraid of? They were afraid of losing their tithing. They were afraid that there might be people there that didn't like Charlie Kirk, so they just felt it was better to just not say anything because they don't want to lose any of that collection plate money. Smith Month Act. Yep. Trending. Not sure if it'll keep trending or not, but maybe. They're a more useless politician than James Langford. Yeah, I think I saw that one. All right. Well, let's see how long I've been going. Yeah, I've been going about the same amount of time as I did yesterday. I'm just going to leave it there. So I'll probably grab a couple of clips to see if there's anything worth clipping from this video, and I'll just have them posted tomorrow. Kind of like what I did today. So I did about 3 hours yesterday, and some of the good ones, I didn't get all the way through. I only got about halfway through, and I grabbed like 5 clips because I didn't really want to overdo it. But yeah, I'm sure I'll probably clip a few things for tomorrow, and I'll be back to doing the swamp starting tomorrow, Monday, and I'll probably start it around 6 p.m., maybe at 7 at the latest, and I'll try to have it finished and uploaded by 9 o'clock, at the very latest 9:30. Like the earlier the better for me. It's just, if I don't have anything going on in the evening, then I can start it even earlier. So I'm going to try to wrap up all my obligations of the day today, run to the grocery store, do some meal prepping because I cook dinner every night. So I have to try to, move things around to make the show happen at a timely manner, which it just happens to fall like right in the dinner time frame. But I work all day, so I can't do it during the day. So I just have to do it as soon as I can. But anyway, either way, it's going to get done tomorrow. Be back with more swamp news from the federal machine. And if you like this video, then give it a like if you have a chance, or subscribe to the channel also. That would mean a lot to me if you do. And I'll drop a new show every evening, Monday through Friday, covering the swamp and everyone living in it. The politicians, the agencies, bureaucrats, and everything else. And I usually post on X, at least I try to. Sometimes I forget, but usually I post the Swamp episodes Monday through Friday over on X. So if you're on X and if you feel like dropping a comment, you can do so over there too if you'd like. And thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your evening, and God bless America.